perfect. All right, so the title of today's discussion is The Wizard Within, When the Kingdom Responds to Your Word. This is inspired by a success letter that I got today. Here we go. All right, let's talk about it. Okay, I want to read it and then we're going to talk about it. This really is interesting because what this is going to show you is how you can make this fun. Right? You can make this reality creation fun. That's what it's supposed to be. This is what it's supposed to be like. All right? So let's read it. Dear Alexander. Y'all love calling me by my full name, by the way. Alexander. Like yeah, my mom or something. Dear Alexander, I don't even know where to begin. Something inside of me has finally clicked, and it is blowing my mind. Beautiful. For years I was grinding, trying to effort my way into alignment, working so hard to think the right thoughts, force the right feelings, and constantly checking if I was doing it right. But now it feels like a switch flipped. I honestly feel like a wizard walking through life, choosing what I want to experience and watching it show up like magic. The funniest part, I've been affirming things just for fun, no pressure or attachment, and they're happening so naturally that I almost laugh every time. Okay? For example, I casually affirmed that I'd get a free coffee one morning, and within an hour, my barista said my drink was on the house. Okay? Making it fun. Light, fun. Next, I said to myself, I always find the best parking. And suddenly I pull up to spots right in front every time, even in crowded lots. I affirmed that unexpectedly, money flows to me, and that same day, I received a refund check I completely forgot about. Okay? And I know what y'all waiting to hear. So let's go a little bit further, all right? The biggest thing, though, the SP. The favorite topic, the SP I've been trying to manifest for the last 2 years is suddenly blowing up my phone. Talking about marriage, telling me how much they've missed me, and showing up exactly the way I dreamed of. It's night and day compared to the old version of them, which of course makes perfect sense now because I know who I am. I am in capitalization, okay? And that old version had to fade away the moment I stood fully in that truth. Masterclass. Really breaking it down for you right here, okay? That old version had to fade away the moment I stood fully in that truth. It is like reality is bending around me, responding to my words and my knowing. I'm not, quote unquote, trying to manifest. I am manifestation. Bars, bars, bars. And none of this would have been, okay, I don't need to read that part. You've shown me how simple and natural this really is. That it was never about striving, but about being. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for helping me reclaim my power. Appreciate you, right? But understand this, right? You can sit and you can listen to me talk until I turn blue in the face. But who does the work? Who makes the decision? Who decides to be? Who deserves all the credit for living the life of their dreams? You do. Your divine ass does. Okay? Thank you for reminding me that the kingdom is within me and that all I had to do was speak it, live it, and let it be. I feel alive. I feel free. Those are key ones. I feel alive. I feel free. And I feel like I finally know what it means to walk in alignment with who I really am. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The moment that you started making it fun, just making it play, making it light, making it easy, just walking around feeling like a wizard. No attachment, just speaking and allowing reality to conform. And then when you took that approach, even with the quote unquote big things at SP, all of a sudden now she drooling all over my boy. She drooling all over my boy. You know what I'm saying? This is the life you deserve. This is the life you deserve, and it's supposed to be fun. Right? You're not supposed to set an alarm clock every day for your affirmation session. It's supposed to be light and fun and detached and easy. These desires come from God. Why would they not be fun? Okay? So let's talk about it. This whole conversation is going to spark off of this beautiful letter. You know, I love hearing the success stories. I love it. Okay? So the wizard within, when the kingdom responds to your word. All right. There comes a moment when the striving ends, when you stop trying to bend yourself into alignment and instead realize alignment was never outside of you. It was never something to chase, never something to earn. It was always who you are. This is the moment the inner wizard awakens, right? In reference to the wizard comment, this is titled The Inner Wizard. We're all going to activate that inner wizard. Okay? This is the moment the inner wizard awakens, not the wizard of fairy tales, but the one who commands reality by identity, whose word is decree because his being is law. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? The one whose word is decree because his being is law. This goes back to what? That point that my brother made, right? I'm not quote unquote trying to manifest. I am manifestation. My word is decree because what my being is law. Who I am is law. I am the law. I wonder what Jesus meant when he said that. I am the law of Moses. Cold bar right there. I am the law. I am the law. You are the law. You are manifestation. You're not trying to do shit. You are manifestation. You are reality. You are the law. You are the Lord. You are God. Remember, Lord translates to law in the Old Testament. You are the Lord. Okay? Romans 4:17. Okay? My brother Paul. Call those things which be not. Which be not, right? I always talk funny. Call those things which be not. Call the things that are not there is what it means. Call those things which are not there as though they were. Beautiful. Waking up that inner wizard within you, right? In this mystery, Paul wasn't telling us to beg God to create, right? This does not sound like begging, does it? This does not sound like begging at all. Call those things which be not. Call the shit that isn't there as though it was there. In this mystery, Paul wasn't telling us to beg God to create. He was unveiling our likeness to God. I know. It can be tough to hear. Who creates by word, not by effort. Let there be light. Okay? Not let there be light, and then God worked for the light. And then God felt like the light. And then God regulated the light. And then the light was there. Let there be light. It's done. Allow it to happen. Right? If you have multi-layered wants, go to the end and allow all of them to unfold. Who says you have to make rules on one at a time? This is your world. There's only one law. That law is I am. Enjoy all of them. Let all of them unfold. All of them unfold. Right? I moved recently. I had to be closer to my family. I'm in a season of obligation with my family right now. That's it. Right. Who says, okay, you want to be this or that? You can be whatever. You can be the CEO. You can be whatever you want. Who says that wanting it is not enough? Who's saying that right now? Who is the awareness that is saying that? Remember, you're making all the rules. It is your word, your thoughts that create law. So who says feeling it is, who says you have to feel and desiring is not enough? Desiring is of God. Desiring is God placing that holy fire within you and reminding you of who you really are. To desire is enough. You just can't desire from lack. To desire and to know that this is divine memory. I have this desire because there's a part of me that already has it. So I'm remembering that part of me right now. And from that remembrance, I have switched into the identity of having it, and that is enough. And now once I switch into that identity, reality has to rearrange. Hold up, listen, pay attention. No, he doesn't. Neville says feeling is a secret, and then remember, keep reading. Neville says, when I speak about feeling, I am not speaking of emotion, but the acceptance of the fact that it is done, that it is yours. This is where a lot of us get tripped up. Hear that all the time, right? No, Neville says feel, but feeling is the secret. No, no, no. It's not what Neville said. Neville says, when I speak of feelings, I do not speak of emotion, but the acceptance of the fact that it is yours. If I'm trying to feel something real, what I'm doing is I'm acknowledging that I don't have it. If I'm trying to make myself feel like I have it, I'm simply saying that I don't have it. If I'm trying to strive to be in alignment, I'm simply saying that I don't have it. Hear that. Instead of trying to be in alignment, what Neville was saying was assume the state of the wish fulfilled. The feeling of the state of the wish fulfilled is what? It's the acceptance that is mine. Stop striving and trying to be in alignment. Stop striving and trying to get a feeling and simply know that it is yours. All right? Guys, be careful with the information you're getting. All right? Be careful. Be careful. All right? So the wizard within, identity and not effort. Identity and not effort, okay? A wizard doesn't work hard to create magic. He simply knows the laws of his kingdom and speaks them into motion. Hear that. A wizard doesn't work hard to create magic. Your divineness doesn't work hard to create manifestations. You are manifestation. You are the law. I am the law. You are the law. Okay? Likewise, manifestation is not about grinding your way into belief. Okay? Likewise, manifestation is not about grinding your way into belief, striving to believe, trying to convince the ego. Remember, the ego always wants to see separation. It always wants proof. You can't escape this. But why are you trying to convince your ego when I am is the one who does the work? Your ego is not out there creating. Your ego is just trying to keep you safe. I am is doing the work. All right? It is about identity. When you know you are the one who decrees, creation bends to your knowing. When you know who you are, creation bends to your knowing. The mystic Meister Eckhart once said, the eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me. This is the wizard's eye. To realize you and the source are not separate. To know that when you speak, it is not a powerless human voice, but the echo of eternity declaring itself through you. The same eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me. Me and source are one and the same. Okay? It's this realization, this deep realization that I am source. That is the realization where striving ceases. Striving stops. I can know, how can I try to be what I already am? Is it me trying to be in alignment? Is it me trying to fight against reality? Is it me trying to prove my worthiness? Simply a declaration that I am not who I say I am? Is it me trying to affirm all day to stay in alignment and feel a good way to be in alignment? Isn't that simply me assuming that I'm not the person that I say I am? Stop trying to do all these things. Stop trying to strive. Stop trying to work. And simply know that right now you are made in the perfect image of the Creator. And because you are made in the perfect image of the Creator, you are always in alignment. This is the trick. This is what Neville meant when he said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Simply assume that it's done. What is the state of the wish fulfilled? It's the knowing that it's done. It's the knowing that I'm already in perfect alignment. It's the knowing that it doesn't matter what I do. I don't have to lift a finger from this point forward. If I need to take action, then something will miraculously happen to cause me to take action. But me thinking, oh, I have to do something to get it, isn't that implying that I don't have it? Me saying I have to react a certain way to get it. If I see a situation I don't like, I have to react a certain way. Isn't that me saying I don't have it? Do you have it or not? If you have it, it doesn't matter how you react, right? You simply remind yourself of the truth that you have it. All right? Just because you have something, does that mean the path to getting it was always smooth and happy and fun? A lot of you are putting too much emphasis on your emotions. Oh, because I feel disappointed or I feel bad, does that mean I don't have it? Who is the one who is saying that? You're the one making the law. Why are you making that rule? Why are you saying that? I can't speak for your reality. You speak for your reality. You're the ultimate authority on your reality. Who tells you that you have to reprogram your subconscious mind? Now, who is the one who believes that and makes that their reality? Who is the one that says you have to feel good all the time to be in alignment? Who is the one who says that? It's you. You are the one who is making these rules that you can't even abide by. You're really not meant to listen to all of this manifestation content. You shouldn't know what an alignment and vibration and frequency is anyway. You simply need to know that right now I am made in the perfect image of God, and because of that, I'm always in alignment no matter how I feel, no matter what the circumstance looks like, and I always expect it to work out. That's it. There's the game right there. There's the magic. Everything else keeps you in a state of confusion. What is an alignment? What is a frequency? What is a vibration? How do you measure that? Please enlighten me. How do you measure that? Right? You know what I'm saying? You put something on your tongue, a little thermometer, that measures your vibration and your frequency of wealth. When it starts beeping, all of a sudden the money starts flowing in. No, you don't know. It's an assumption. Everything is an assumption. This is the same exercise that we always do, right? Right now, think of the person you love the most. If you woke up tomorrow with no memory, who would they be to you? Who is this person in front of you? They would mean nothing, right? That person is meaningless. So when we say circumstances don't matter, this is the meaning of that. They don't. Your mother right now is meaningless without your stories. But the moment that you bring your memory and your past and your stories to it, now you breathe meaning into her. The circumstance that you're in, it's absolutely meaningless. You're just telling a story about it. You right now, your body, looking at it, the story you're telling about your body, it's just a story. Take away your memory, and now even you are meaningless when you look in the mirror. You mean nothing to yourself. That's it. You are just awareness. You are just this divine being walking around telling stories and creating laws for their life. That's it. That's it. If you want to change your reality, change your story. You're not a prisoner of the past. You don't have to tell me about your past to get a new future. You don't have to go through the past to choose a new version of someone or something. You're not changing that person, right? Like that phrase in the Matrix, the scene in the Matrix when Neo's visiting the Oracle, he's talking to that little kid, right? And the kid's like bending the spoon. He says, try not to bend the spoon. That's impossible, right? Try not to bend the spoon. That's impossible. Look at you asking me 10 questions, not telling me to move on to a story. Listen, right? Listen, get this work, man. Get this work, right? Neo, right? He's talking to the kid, and the kid says, try not to bend the spoon. It's impossible. Simply try to realize the truth. There is no spoon. Right? We spend all this time trying to change situations, trying to change people, trying to change the bank account. But those versions of them exist in their reality. They have a right to exist completely, fully in their reality. They exist. You're not changing them. You simply need to acknowledge that they exist and then choose with your awareness what you want to experience next. That's it. All right? That is it. You're not changing anyone or anything. You're simply changing yourself, your perception of yourself. You're selecting a new version of yourself, and then you're allowing all things to be added unto you. All right? So Luke 17:21, Jesus revealed the kingdom of God is within you. Okay? The kingdom of God is within you. This kingdom is not an external throne, but the infinite field of consciousness, right? There's so many different ways that we talk about this field. We call it the Akashic Records. We call it the kingdom of God. We call it the quantum field, right? We call it all of these different things, but they're all the same, right? It's everything. It's everything, okay? The infinite field of consciousness that reflects whatever is spoken into it. Like a mirror, it does not argue. It does not delay. It does not resist. It simply returns to you the image you impressed upon it. This is the nature of reality. Reality does not resist you. It doesn't fight you back. It simply reflects back who you are. This is why the proverb declares, right? Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Beautiful. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. The kingdom within is fertile soil, and your words are seeds. The harvest of your words is always going to be inevitable. Okay? This is the law of who the hell are you being? What is the story that you're continuously telling about life? Right? If you just walk through life and you constantly ask the question, if I had it, would I be acting like this? If I had it, would I be bitching and whining like this? If I had it, you know what I'm saying, would I be trying to micromanage how I react to some circumstance in the middle? If I had it, what would I be doing right now? Would I be sitting and affirming 1,000 times? If I had that person, would I be trying to figure out how I'm going to get them back? You'll easily see that who you've been, right? Who you've been are not the actions of the person that has those things, and adjust accordingly. Easy, right? That's it. And so often we're just looking for techniques, and we're out here stressing and striving and working and doing all these things that are just implying. We just walk around being a person that does not have it, hiding behind techniques and affirmations and visualizations. The real goal is simply consciousness. It's your awareness. It's your ability to stand firmly in your life and be so present with yourself that you can make a decision on who you're being, that you can study yourself and say, okay, I am being the person who has it. Now you don't need to look for external validation out there for something to prove to you that you're doing it right, because nothing out there can prove it. As long as you're looking for something out there to show you that you're doing this right, reality will just give you more opportunities to keep looking for validation, because that's what you're being. If you're being a person that is looking for validation, reality says, okay, let's give you more things to look for validation from. If you're being the person that has it, that no longer needs validation, now reality says, okay, cool. It's not a difficult concept. But me affirming all day, me micromanaging my feelings all day, me suppressing my feelings all day, running away from them, denying myself this human experience. Who am I being? Constantly worrying about how this person's going to come back, and what if I block them? Are they still going to be able to hit me up? Do you have them or not? Do you have them or not? This is the question. Do you have them or not? Do you have it or not? From that place of power, everything that you do becomes magical. But from that position of lack, everything you do becomes a gateway to more lack. To him who has, more will be given. But to him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. But if you do not bring forth what is within you, then what you do not bring forth will destroy you. You will live in poverty, and you are the poverty, as Jesus said. Your I am awareness. If you don't bring it forward, then you will live in poverty, and you are the poverty. You are reality. Simple as that. You're not trying to manifest anything. You are manifestation. I know I got a little bit more pointed with the conversation today. Neville Goddard echoed this truth, right? To be conscious of being is to be alive. And all that you are conscious of being will inevitably manifest. We get all of these one-liners that tell you everything that you need. This is the only thing that you need. To be conscious of being is to be alive. And all that you are conscious of being will inevitably manifest. That's it. Who are you being? Who are you? Are you being someone that has it, or are you being someone that doesn't have it? What is your storytelling? What are your actions and your words? What are they saying? What are they saying? Okay? So fun as the highest faith. Notice how the miracles often happen when you affirm lightly, joyfully, almost as a game. Like my brother did in the beginning, right? I'll get a free coffee and it appears. I always find the best parking spot and it unfolds. Okay? The wizard does not strain. God does not strain because God knows. God is not trying to be God. God just is God. Worthiness, manifesting is more natural to you than breathing. No one needs to teach you how to do this. You simply need to expect what you want and act like you have it. That's it. There's no magic pill to take. There's no secret technique. There's no secret information. To be conscious of being is to be alive. And all that you are conscious of being will inevitably manifest. Bingo. So Rumi said, right? Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. To play with creation is to trust that it already bows to you. This is not arrogance. It is remembrance. Right? You're not on a journey to get more information, to become more enlightened. You're not on a journey of that. You're on a journey of remembering, right? We make it difficult. We're the ones that make this a complicated process. How is this a complicated process? What you are is what you receive. If I'm aware of being prosperity, then that is what I'll receive. If I'm aware of having this person, then I will receive that person. It's just interesting, right? We all go through this dating world for a while. The people that you know, them motherfuckers never leave. But she can't get enough of your boy, right? Those are always the ones that stay. But the ones you sit around and stress about, I don't know if they like me or not. Guess what? They don't. They don't. Isn't it incredible how that seems to happen? Right? We act like this manifesting is rocket science. Okay, right now, if you get good news, you know the person that you could give that good news to, and they will be happy for you. And you know the person that you will say, no, I'm not going to tell them because they'll probably hate. You know that. You've been doing this your whole life. If you had two parents, you knew which parent to tell certain things to and which one not to. You knew. Two kids, right? 3 kids, same household. They get completely different parents. Every single one gets completely different parents. Why is that? Why is that? All the students in a class get a different version of that teacher. Why is that? You know how to do this. You've been doing this your whole life. You've been doing this your whole life. Okay? So stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. Right? So night and day, the old self must fade. When you shift identity, the old version of you and the old versions of others must dissolve. As Paul wrote, right? Put off your old self and put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. Ephesians 4:22-24. Put off your old self and put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. That is why relationships change. That is why doors open. That is why the same people who once ignored you suddenly declare their love, their loyalty, their recognition of who you are. The wizard within does not chase. He embodies. An embodiment transforms the world around him. This is the magic that's within you. You're not trying to manifest. You are manifestation. You are manifestation. All right? So a couple of reflection questions. Number 1, where in my life am I still efforting instead of knowing? Where am I still trying to know instead of just making a decision that because I've chose this, that's what it is? Where in my life am I still efforting? I'm trying to learn the law more. I'm trying to be more worthy. I'm trying to embody it more. I'm trying to feel it more real instead of just knowing that it's done. Instead of just knowing that I have everything that I would. Instead of just knowing that I am the manifestation of the Most High. Therefore, alignment is my birthright. Alignment is my birthright. Can I breathe right now? Okay, cool, then I'm in alignment. I feel sad. Okay, just the fact that I feel a feeling means I'm in alignment. I'm good. Right? Can I judge something as good or bad? Okay, just the fact that I can judge something means I'm in alignment. Everything becomes an indicator that I'm in alignment, because everything that indicates that I am means I am in alignment. I am in alignment. Okay? Number 2, what words am I planting into the kingdom within me daily? What words am I planting into the kingdom within me daily? Right? Am I planting words of prosperity, words of lack? Am I planting thoughts of striving and reaching, or thoughts of being still and knowing that I'm God? Right? Remember, that's a 2-part statement. Be still and know that I am God. It doesn't just say be still. It says be still and know. Be still and know. Stop striving. Stop reaching. Simply be still and know that I am is God, that you are God. Just know that. Stop trying and just know. Right? What words am I planting into the kingdom within me daily? All right. And number 3, if I truly believed I was the creator of my own world, what playful, light, detached decrees would I begin to speak today? Tomorrow's going to be the best day of my life. Tonight's going to be the best night of my life. I'm going to reconnect with somebody tomorrow. Have a great conversation with somebody tomorrow. How would you start decreeing things in your life? If you truly knew that you were the creator of your reality, which you are. All right? So in closing, to awaken the wizard, the creator within, is to stop rehearsing limitation and begin decreeing reality. The kingdom is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for your word. Speak not as one begging the heavens, but as one who knows I am. As St. Catherine of Siena declared, become who you are meant to be, and you will set the world on fire. Right? Become who you are meant to be, and you will set the world on fire. Right? So that is the conversation for today. It's becoming the internal wizard, right? It's really sparked by my dog. It really clicked for him. I remember our last session, really clicked in that session, right? But it clicked even further from just a video, right? And that's a snippet from the email that I received from him, which is always beautiful. The moment that I realized this whole time I've been trying to be something that I already am. I've been trying to be in alignment when I am alignment. I've been trying to be worthy when I am worthy. I've been trying to be prosperity when I am prosperity. I've been trying to be love when I am love. Right? All that self-care and doing your nails, right? And you know what I'm saying, bathing, right? The regular shit you're supposed to do, right? That's not self-love. It's just self-maintenance, right? You are love. Love is not a, let me put it like this. There just is love. And that love is you. That's it. There just is love, and that love is you. Okay? Cool. So, that's all I have for today, y'all. We can do some questions. If y'all want to join, go ahead. But we probably going to be here for a while. I said to my phone died. I got like 80% battery, so if y'all want to join on TikTok, go ahead. If y'all got questions, let's talk about them. What's up, Miss Glow? Miss Glow by Brenda. The easiest way you found to dismiss the past and any evidence of who I am claiming to be now is just speaking. You're just saying the word, right? I have a choice. This is all my awareness is. My awareness is just my ability to walk through life and tell the story that I want per moment. So right now I understand that this moment is all that exists. Let's say I do think of an old story. Happens all the time, actually. Now, what do I do with that story? Because I can watch a movie right now, right? And I cannot identify with that storyline. I can talk about that storyline with my friends, with my family. It doesn't show up in my life. Why not? Because I don't identify with it. I identify, that's not my story. That's somebody else's story, right? Somebody else's story. So what are these past stories of mine? They're not this version of mine's story. That's an old version of mine's story. That's a thought the old version of me used to have, right? I don't identify with it anymore. So I let it go. That's all. I simply say, oh, this is not mine. I don't identify with this thought anymore. I completely dissociate. I cast it on a different version of me. And then I select what I prefer to believe right now, because I know that the power is just right now. It's only how I decree myself to be right now that's what matters. Let me take a deep breath. So I stop stumbling over words. Okay? That's not who you are anymore, exactly. Been trying to be free when you are free, for sure, right? I am free. I am power. I am, like, I'm not trying to manifest shit. I am manifestation, right? All those things. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you are here. I'm grateful that all of y'all are here. How do I remember who I want to be? I'm only pausing because my initial question was, how could you not remember who you want to be, right? Look, this is my dominant knowing about myself. My dominant knowing about myself is that I am source. I am God. That's it. And because I am source, because source is within me, I take on all attributes of the creator. From that knowing, I know that the only things that can be added to me are what? Love, prosperity, health, wealth, all those, the attributes of source are added onto me from that knowing, right? So that's my remembrance right there. I don't sit around and I don't really micromanage my life at this point. I'm beyond needs at my life right now, right? Everything is just wants. I work off pure wants at this point. But even those wants, right, they're flowing. If I see something I want, I know that I will receive it because I am source. So remembering that for me has been that's been my ultimate identity. That knowing, relaxing into that knowing, oh, I am source. How could I ever not be in alignment? How could the things that I want not be added onto me? That's where the magic has been for me. How do I deal with external triggers that try to keep in? I accept them for what they are. It's just a trigger. I acknowledge everything because everything has a right to exist. That trigger has a right to be there. Okay? I don't run from it because I'm God. Or I don't fight it away because that's me reacting to it in a way that proves I don't want it. Therefore, I create more of it in my life. Right? Hiding from something is me denying that I have the ability to choose. Because I have the ability to choose, there's nothing I need to hide from. What is the trigger doing, right? So there's several different things that I can do after that. Let's say the trigger just leads me to a feeling, negative feeling, okay? Now I can ask myself straight up, what do I have to believe to be true to feel this way? Okay, the feeling could be jealousy. What do I have to believe to be true to feel jealousy? Well, maybe I don't believe that source is that good and can provide to me. I just have a feeling. Okay, now I can just remind myself of the truth in the moment. So even me confronting those triggers, those quote unquote negative feelings, just gets me closer to myself. It leads me to a deeper understanding of myself. Now the next time I have that feeling, I remember, oh yeah, this is what it meant. Boom, now I just remind myself of the truth. Now I can have everything because my awareness is everything. If I can be aware of it, it is mine. So this is how I deal with those external triggers. Or I use them. You alchemize everything. Everything has a purpose and it has a everything. I'm the one who gives everything meaning, right? Nothing has meaning without me. Therefore, it's my job to use everything to push me towards what I want. That's it. It's my job to push, to use whatever to push me towards what I want. Right? What's up? How do I get out of a place of need? I didn't want to give the same answer twice, but it looks like I might have to. It's reminding myself, I'll give it in a different way. It's the reminder that even my sense of need is just my ego playing a trick on me. It's my ego implying that there's separation, there's not unity, and that I am somehow not the creator of this reality. Right? That's all a need is. It's me having a false belief that right now I cannot choose. That's it. And then it's also even the feeling of need, right? Need, it's like a feeling, right? It's this feeling of almost desperation. I just need it. Like, I don't know, like I can't see beyond not having it. Well, the truth is that even if I didn't have it, for the most part, I'd be fine. Now, sure, there are some things where it's difficult to say that. I was in a position, as y'all know, where what really pushed me into this manifesting space is believing I was going to get evicted. Not knowing how I was going to pay the rent, and quote unquote needing the money to be paid. But I still had to constantly remind myself, no, I am the creator. I always have a choice, and I choose to have it paid. That is my choice. I choose that it's paid. It is paid. It is paid. It is paid. And going back to that knowing allowed me to get it. Now, even though I had that feeling of desperation, did that stop me from getting what I wanted? No, it didn't. It didn't stop me from getting what I wanted. So use your need the same way that you will use any kind of, quote unquote, negative emotion. What is this implying? What is this feeling of need implying? Is it implying that I believe that, I can't get it because source is not good because I don't have a choice? Well, then that's something for me to confront to get a better understanding of myself. And then how to get over a bad mood or negativity. Let it pass. Just let it pass, right? It's just a feeling. It's a feeling you have right now. Why are you in a bad mood, right? Ask yourself that question. Why am I feeling negativity right now? Why do I believe whatever I believe about that situation? Oftentimes we'll look out and we'll drive around and we'll see 333 on a license plate and we'll say, oh, that's a synchronicity. We'll start Googling it, right? But the moment that we have certain things that show up in our life that make us feel a certain type of way over and over again, we don't look at those things as synchronicities when they are as well, right? It's a reason it's shown up to you twice. Every time you get around this person, you get upset about the same subject. What do you believe to be true about it? That puts you in an actual position of power, right? The more that we ignore those things, right, we deny ourselves an opportunity to just get a little bit more insight on ourselves. You gotta understand, right? Most people, there's a part in the Matrix, right, where Neo's sitting down with the Oracle and she tries to give him a piece of candy. And he's like, do you know if I'm gonna take it or not? He's like, I wouldn't be much of an Oracle if you did. And he's like, well, how do you know I have a choice? Like, how can I have a choice if you already know? Right? And what she says is something along the lines of, because you're not here to make a choice. You've already made the choice, right? You're just trying to be okay with it. Or you're trying to figure out why. Typically, some of us ignore our triggers. We ignore our negative feelings so much that it gets to a point where we no longer have free will. You have two options. And option B is familiar because this is the path that does not go through that uncomfortable emotion. And you think that you're making a choice for your happiness, but you're simply making the same choice you've always made to avoid yourself, and deny yourself a deeper understanding of your desires, of what you want. And so you just stay in this loop. This happens in the manifestation space a lot, right? Feeling is the secret, right? We misunderstand that. Oh, I have to feel good all the time, so I simply will deny anything that makes me feel negative. You just end up in this loop, just choosing familiar things, denying yourself of your own free will. No longer have free will. Thinking you're creating something when really you're just sitting around chasing happiness and sabotaging all these good things for you over and over again. We see this in life all the time, right? Somebody that just hops from relationships to relationship. I just want to be happy. They can't have conversations with people. I'm not saying this is you. I'm just making a broader point. Is that at what point do we start facing ourselves? At what point do we stop denying ourselves the human experience? Huh? If we don't confront ourselves and we don't try to make better choices, then how do you even know that the choices that you're making are in your best interest? You're just chasing the same feeling you've always been chasing, and it hasn't led to a better life. This is why feelings are meaningless. But when you start following them around, what does scripture say? The heart is deceitful above all, who can know it? So if I'm just running around chasing good feelings, which no wonder your life looks the same. Because chasing good feelings is just a path to do the exact same comfortable shit over and over again. I know, it's a little different conversation. I should have had everybody hold hands before we said that. Denying a choice is a choice, for sure. For sure. Denying a choice is a choice. Absolutely. Damn, that is a bar right there. That is a bar. Denying a choice is a choice. You should chase yourself. 100%. The point of you being a conscious being, the point of your consciousness is to be conscious of something. Now, if I'm always conscious of things outside of me, right, that means I'm making false idols of everything out there. Right? Even scripture tells you, I am the Lord your God, you should have no false idols, right? It doesn't mean don't worship a golden pig or a statue. It means nothing outside of you is real and should be given authority. Okay? But even me chasing, okay, so if the purpose of consciousness is to be conscious of something and the kingdom is within me, everything is within me, then the purpose of my consciousness is for me to be conscious of myself. Well, you trying to destroy yourself will be implying that you are something that can be destroyed. How would you that there is no death, right? There is no loss. You can't. You can't destroy yourself. Exactly. The people that we even want and fiend for and desire, they are you. The moment we realize you're not chasing anybody out there, you're simply trying to find a version of yourself. You're playing a make-believe. You're pretending. This is all this is, right? The illusion of lack. There is no lack. There is only all that there is. There is no lack. There's simply our failure to recognize prosperity, which becomes our picture, right? Like, you can't not be prosperity, but you can pretend that you're lack. And by pretending that you're lack, source says yes, universe says yes. Let me give you a little bit more of that. This is the paradox, right? This is the whole thing. We say you do not fight the darkness to get the light. You don't have to fight through the darkness to get sunlight. You just open your eyes and realize the sun was there the whole time. You don't fight against lack to get prosperity. You just remember that you've been prosperity the whole time and you allow it to actually flow through you. That's it. You are everything that you say that you are. No exceptions. You are absolutely everything that you say that you are. But there's only one law. It's I am. There's only one law. God is everything. Awareness is all that there is. Okay? Let's play the game, right? Awareness is all that there is. Who are you? If you had no thoughts, no words, no memory, who are you? Do you still exist? Without your body, do you still exist? Without being able to describe yourself, do you still exist? Like, when you look at this wall behind me and you try to describe it with no words and no thoughts, you just observe it, what actually happens to you? You go back to your nature, which is just awareness. And now from this point forward, what happens? You create a story about it. You say, oh, it's colored this way. It might be light this way, right? It should have some pictures. It should, like, now you start telling the story and you start to cast what? Your story on it, and you begin to give it meaning. But before then, it's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. Nothing has meaning without you. So this journey, right? It can't be about searching for things out there, because out there is absolutely meaningless without you. So it must be searching for who? It must be what? It must be me creating, me realizing myself. That way I can give everything out there the actual meaning that I want. What? Hold up. Hold up. This is not a book. It's a document that I put together. It's a document I put together. I uploaded it to YouTube. So after the conversation, you'll all have it. You said, please let me understand how to see it if you're a witch. What? What? What about the practicality of the human mind? You can't escape it, right? You can't escape the practicality of the human mind. So even me trying to calm that down just keeps me in the loop of becoming, right? So think about it like this, okay? If every single one of every single person that is walking around on this earth put all of our knowledge together, would we understand source? Would you understand all that there is? If every single person put all of our minds together and we created one big superhuman, we uploaded all of our thoughts, right? Will we understand everything? Okay, probably, maybe. That's cool. Okay, that answer is cool, but I would say no. I'm going to say no. I'm gonna say even if you talk to AI, right? The AI I talk to could be completely different than the AI somebody else talks to, right? Because it's a feedback mechanism as well. It's feedback, right? So even with the same information, it'll still spit out different perspectives, right? It'll still spit out different perspectives. So if all of us together, combined, are trying to understand source, and we still can't, we're thinking of all these different things, okay? What? Hold up. Forgot the point that I was going to make. You're tripping me out. That witch comment really got me, man. All right, anyways. So the goal can't be to figure it all out. This is what keeps us away from our dreams, right? Trying to figure out everything, right? Let me figure out the next manifesting technique. Let me figure out how to do this. Let me figure out how to do that, right? It keeps us on that hamster wheel, trying to become, trying to figure more and more out. The brain, the ego is always going to look for evidence. It's always going to look for something out there to prove to it that I should do this. You have to be the one that says, I'm not putting my faith in my ego. It's not the ego that does the work. It is I am. It is my awareness that does the work. And from that knowing, now I don't struggle or wrestle with the ego, right? I still go down the path of learning. But does that learning, right? Okay, here is the path of learning. Does the path of learning impact my worthiness to have the life of my dreams? No. Does the path of learning impact my desire or my ability, my worthiness to have the life of my dream? Absolutely not. All right? Absolutely not. No, we would not. If every single person right now put all of their minds together, we would not understand source. We would not understand the infinite. We would not understand the infinite. Yo, like, you telling me that we can understand all them stars, all those planets out there? Hell no. Hell no. Y'all have a small belief or viewpoint or perspective of what all that there is. I believe even if we added up every single human that walked this earth throughout history, we put all of our minds together, it wouldn't add up to all that there is. We're only one speck in this universe. One planet, one speck of this universe. Well, but the point is this. It was never our job to learn everything. We just take one of infinite perspectives of source to learn who we are as the creator through this reality. That's it. You're here just to experience. What else are we here for? Remember, we can create all of these other different illusions of why we're here, and that will be our reality. If right now I tell you, okay, if right now that I tell you that I came down here with all this past life karma, and I have to work through it in this lifetime, right? And there's going to be things that happen to me negative that are because of past lives, and I have to endure it. Well, it sounds like it might be a hard life. But if I say that, then that is the reality that I can experience. That is the reality that I can experience if I say that. But remember, all of these laws, the law of karma, the law of all these laws that we're talking about fall under the one law, the law of one, the law of I am. I am. God is everything. All of these other laws are what? They're explanations for everything. And you can abide by them. Do you believe that everybody adheres to the same law of karma? Do you believe that everybody adheres to the same law of karma? Somehow in our human mind, we start saying, oh yeah, of course. It's, in different lives and all this stuff. And remember, there's only one moment. Everything is happening right now. Your past lives, future lives, whatever you call them, only happen right now. There is no past and future. There is just right now. Everything that you're experiencing is happening right now. Right? Why do unexpected things happen? That's because you're supposed to judge righteously and not by appearance anyway. Unexpected things happen because most people are walking through life not actually conscious of their decisions and of who they're being. Therefore, they get things that they don't want because they're not fully conscious or aware. If you have 60,000 thoughts a day, can you name all the 60,000 thoughts that you had in the last day? Well, then there's some thoughts that went past your awareness, right? Cool. So there's some things that show up. How many different ways are we being programmed? Sometimes we're being programmed right through the media, through books we read, through YouTube, through social media, through parents, through jobs, right? There's all these different influences on our life. How conscious are you of every single thought? Of every single opportunity that you have to reject or accept something? Right? So we have so many different ways that we're being programmed. Certain things slip past your awareness. Right? But as we wake up, as we remember who we are, now we have the obligation to what? To take control of our consciousness. Okay? And once we do that, now when we step into that greater level of understanding, we get the opportunity to judge things as right or wrong, as good or bad, as unfolding for us or against us. So even then, when we see things that we do not, quote unquote, want, we still have the choice to say, okay, this is still unfolding perfectly for me towards my end, or, oh, it sucks. I don't want it. And now I create more of it by doing that. All right? Here's the thing. If reality has to change to get you from right here to where you want, it has to change. So things have to shift. Since things have to shift, right? What does shifting look like? It looks like change. It looks like change. So as long as things are changing, they are always changing for me. Shifting is good. Shifting is good. All right? It's always shifting, whether we can see it or not. Shifting is good. Always, right? Always. That is your only job. Your only job is to say it's always working out for you. And to be the person that's in alignment with everything that you want. That is your job. Right? Judge based on appearance, or judge righteously, not based on appearance. This is your job. This is the way. It's always working out for me. The situation might not look ideal, but the God within me is perfect. So the situation must be unfolding perfectly. It must be, because this is the law. Why? Because I say so. You get the idea of right and wrong, right? This is a human construct. This is a human construct. Right? Yes. Believe it, know it, move on. Accept this, accept whatever is in front of you right now as a perfect version of reality. One of infinite, perfect moments, snapshots of reality. And you get to choose what you want to experience next. That's it. That person that you don't want to experience that version of them anymore, well, that version still has still has a right to exist. That person still has a right to exist. They're still a perfect version of themselves. But you also just get to go within, select a different perspective, and therefore call forward a different version of them. But when we run from them, when we suppress them, when we act like we don't want it, well, then guess what? We get more of that. We get more of that, right? Identity trumps circumstance. Don't judge. Don't base your identity on the circumstance. When you actually choose the identity that you're going to embody, now the circumstances follow. Ignoring it, trying to ignore something because it's scary and you don't want it. That's acting like you don't want it. Trying to embody, let's say you're embodying that you want people to show up a different way. Okay, now I am the person that has that people show up like this for, right? And then all of a sudden, the people don't change yet. They're still unfolding. So they show up the wrong way. And now you're looking at them and you're like, fuck, what am I doing wrong? I must be doing it wrong. That's you basing your identity on them. Instead of just standing firm. Just standing firm in who you are and then allowing the world to actually change and morph to you. Right? So acting like I don't want them is basically basing my identity on that circumstance, saying, oh, I must not be doing it right. You are doing it right. But now because in this moment you're affirming that you're somebody who's not doing it right, you're also not doing it right, right? So it's always about who you're being in this moment. Do whatever, but think about the identity of the person that's doing it. What identity are you doing? What identity are you doing it from? Who are you being? This is the only thing that matters, is what do you believe about yourself? How do you believe that the world treats you? God heard you the first time, right? You make the identity shift once and move on, right? God heard you the first time. We think that we have to affirm to God like God is a vending machine. If I put 50 quarters, then I can get a Coke, right? Bribing God into giving something to us. No, it just comes from that knowing. Source heard, like I am heard you once, right? God is closer to you than you are to your damn self because Source is you. Source is you, right? I got a question for y'all. I was just thinking about this earlier today, and it's a little off-topic question, but I want to hear y'all's perspective. If anybody also has an interesting perspective, they want to join and share, I'm open to it. But here's the question, all right? This is assuming that you have religious knowledge, whether you used to be religious or are. Y'all know I used to be quite religious. Okay. So this is one thing that I was thinking about. If Jesus paid the price for sins, right? If the price that he had to pay for sins was death, then who was that price paid to? Who was the price paid to? Because we always say, oh, you just paid the price, right? By dying. Who was that price paid to? No, I agree with you. There is no death. I'm talking about from this perspective. If anybody can explain that from an actual religious perspective. You know, when I talk about scripture, I talk about it purely metaphysically. There is no death. There's no payment for your sin because Source does not recognize sin. Source does not identify with quote unquote negativity. Right? But there's only one person that price could be paid to, right? To himself. Himself meaning God, right? To God. So God had to pay the price by becoming man and dying. Therefore, I need like a deep explanation. I need somebody to give me a deep ass explanation of this. But anyways, I'm just curious. Just something that I was pondering today. No, I didn't ask AI. Let's ask AI. When Jesus for sins to die, sins. Okay, so in Christian theology, when Jesus died on the cross, the price of sin was not paid to a specific individual or entity like Satan. Okay? Instead, it was a sacrifice made to God to satisfy divine justice and reconcile humanity with God. The death of Jesus is understood as propitiation. Propitiation. Let me look up that word. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I'm not ashamed to say I don't know what the fuck that word means, right? The action of, okay. The definition of propitiation is the action of propitiating. I don't even know what okay, propitiating, atonement, especially that of Jesus Christ. Atonement. All right, cool. So the death of Jesus is understood as an atonement, meaning it appeased God's wrath against sin and allowed for forgiveness and salvation. What an interesting thing for people to believe. It makes no sense to me. It seems like, never mind. God's justice demands a penalty for sin. Jesus' death on the cross is seen as the payment of that penalty, satisfying God's righteous requirement. Anyways, I'm just going to scratch my head thinking about that too much. God damn, did I just go on a roundabout? The fuck was that? But even, right, remember, like, every single one of our every single one of our perspectives on God is a limitation to all that there is, right? Like, the only thing that can satisfy what source is all that there is. Right? Source is pure spirit. All that there is, right? Even Jesus said he doesn't, like, what was the conversation he had with the disciples when they were speaking of God? He said, I don't worship the same God as you. When they were speaking about the Old Testament God. Wow. Because Jesus was speaking of pure oneness, right? Jesus was metaphysically speaking of oneness. That's it, right? The same source that Jesus was speaking about was not the same source that was murking people left and right in the Old Testament, right? But even the Old Testament, when you look at it metaphysically, Lord means law. Lord means law. And then we get to the teachings of Jesus, and it's more metaphysically on oneness, unity, all that there is. You being the Spirit or the Son of God, right? You being the identity of this Spirit of God. And therefore being able to invoke this Spirit of God with what? With your word. Okay? With your word. So he paid the price for himself to save himself from himself. That's exactly what it means. That prior to the sacrifice, God was a punisher. Right. It's very, very interesting because it's very interesting. Well, long story, but long story short, once we get to conversations like that, like, who is the price paid for? What does it mean? Like, that's when we start to. That's when a lot of the theological arguments do kind of go pretty silent. Yeah, even the story of Jesus, right? This is not the first story. This is not the first story of a quote unquote Son of God, right? This story has, even the story of Krishna, right? It's the exact same as the story of Jesus, right? There's lots of different stories that are the same, all right? Even the concept of a virgin, Mary, is thousands and thousands and thousands of years older than the story of Jesus. The story of a Virgin Mary and having 12 disciples and a son, right? This is a direct story of even before when we were worshiping the fucking sun. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these things do circle. They do circle back. If you start, researching religions, you'll definitely see interesting patterns. Very, very interesting patterns. The whole concept of, God sacrificing is like giving God this human perspective when source is not a human. Like, God is not a being Right? God is just spirit. It's all that there is. Right? It's all that there is. Jesus paid the ultimate price as a sacrifice for humanity to the divine or God in order for us to live in the knowing that we are divine. Something like, I mean, it's then us being sinners is a lie because the price is already, exactly. Once you start going down that rabbit hole, lots of things fall apart. Lots of things fall apart. But there are a lot of things about a lot of religious doctrine that, if you do ask too much, then, the logic behind them does fall apart. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Jesus was a master manifester. What you mean? What you mean? One of the first things he said, bring me the water. Y'all want to get drunk today? I got you. Come over. Let me turn this shit to wine. Okay, what's up? Bring him to all the parties. Right? But here's the thing about stories too, right? I always liken the story to the story of the tortoise and the hare. If you tell a child the story of the tortoise and the hare, the only thing that they're going to get out of it is maybe patience, right? It's like, okay, maybe patience. Sure, cool. And it's just a cool story. But the older you get, you start to learn stories about the nature of the race itself, about humility, all these different meanings. And I think that's the nature of any story that our ancestors passed down, right? Is that at surface level, we could talk about, it was a garden and there was a man and a woman in a garden. There was a snake, a quote unquote evil snake in this good garden that told her to eat an apple and she ate it and they were kicked out of the garden. They had to live mean lives, right? Like we could think of it on that surface level. But then when you start getting a deeper understanding, you start looking at it as a story of consciousness, masculine and feminine energy, of the subconscious and the conscious mind, a story of childbirth, right? A story of biting of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which just represents your fall into duality. You as a human walking around and judging things as right or wrong, right? So, when we look at these stories on a very base level, right. Oh, yes, a man put a stick in the middle of the sea and it parted and a bunch of people walked through it and their enemies were drowned and they lived happily ever after, right? Okay, right? At a base level, sure, cool, that makes sense, right? But when you start looking at it metaphysically, a story of the promised land being the promise that Source puts in your mind, right? All these things from a metaphysical perspective just make a lot more sense. They lead you to a deeper understanding of how to actually create the life that you want. So I look at all parables the same, right? This is how your ancestors passed on information, is they layered stories, right? To a child, to the spiritual child, it's a story of a snake in a garden. Okay? But as you get deeper and deeper, right, it's a story of a lot of other things. But the truth is always waiting to confront you whenever you start digging into it. Right. This is why people will say, this is a book of, it's a living document, scripture, which I agree with. But once you get to a certain point, it's like, oh no, it's not a living document anymore, Alex. Why are you taking it out of context? You're taking it out of context. Well, isn't everything that you read your context? When you go to the priest, right, their context that they have is just what? It's just stamped by something that they call doctrine, dogma, whatever you call it, right? It's just stamped by something that's official, but it's still a perspective, right? It's still their context, right? So that's what we're all doing, is we're all just taking this for context. Who are you to say that what somebody else said is more valid than what I say? Well, to me, what I say is more valid. To me, what Source says to me is more valid, right? So, it's just something to be open-minded about, something to think about, right? That once we start to dive into, these doctrines, how when we talk about it being a living doctrine, do you really believe that, or is it, oh, it's a living doctrine to an extent? Because my priest said so, or this person said so, so it must be. Right? Or do you actually try to seek deeper truths in your life? What? Us dying so our soul lives on, right? Well, yeah, because you can't even imagine not existing, right? You can imagine nothing. You can imagine blank space. But right now, your mind can't even wrap itself around not existing, right? Non-existence is something that to your consciousness makes no sense. Because it's like, if you can have whatever you can imagine, right now you can have whatever you imagine. The only thing that you could not imagine is not existing, right? So your soul is eternal, right? There's only this now moment, and your soul has been here in every now moment, okay? That's it, right? That's as deep as we need to know, right? Are there next lives, past lives, future lives? Of course, but all those lives are still right now. They're still only right now. So death is an illusion. It's not real. There is no death in the kingdom. There is no loss, no lack, no death in the kingdom. Now, because we are here in this reality, we have the illusion of death, the illusion of loss, the illusion of lack. But right now, even if I go to sleep, right, and I lose, like I lost, a couple of people that were close, right? But right now, I can still, right, sleep and have dreams, and they can give me insight on situations that are going on in my life right now. Why? Because they still exist. They still live within me because there's nothing out there. One of the things that I'll say, right, is I'm always like, okay, everything is within you. There is no out there. There's nothing out there. There's no people out there. You're just in the void. Now let's think about this, okay? Is there an earth? Is there a space out there? Are there planets out there? Are there aliens out there? Sure. But where do they really reside? Within you, right? There's nothing out there. Like, we can't say the kingdom is within. Everything is mental. All is mind. And they say, oh, but, if it's the aliens, if it's the Anunnaki, right, they actually are out there. Okay, cool. We can't be tiptoeing across the line, all right? It's all within you. Right now, let's go a little step further. Let's make this a little bit more confusing, because I like to add a little confusion, all right? Let's say that there are things out there. Let's use the empty shell theory, right? Everybody that you meet is just empty. Okay, there's infinite versions of them, but once you start to create expectations and things like that, then a certain version of them moves forward. Okay, what that means is, even if there are things out there, who gets the final word on how it impacts my life? So if the politics out there, and I'm sitting in the room with my mom and we're watching politics, and she's complaining about a politician ruining her life, and it does not bother me. We could literally be sitting in the same space and be in two different realities, right? There can be an alien invasion tomorrow. New York City gets wiped off the map. Maybe let me not say New York. Let's say some remote island that nobody lives on gets wiped off the map, right? And people freak out, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, cool. Just eating popcorn. I'm cool with it, right? We could be in two different realities and still be watching the same event. So who makes a decision on what impacts me? I do. I make the decision. No matter what's going on out there, with my consciousness, with my awareness, I make the decision on what impacts me or not. Right? I'll be cool if it's a zombie apocalypse. I'll be all right. Finally. Whew. I know the market will go down, so I'll make a little bit of money before anything. Oh, I know that put is gonna go crazy. They'll probably shut down the market. The options will be so damn high. Yeah, awareness as in your story, or your story about it, and your attention. Okay, right. If a tree falls in the middle of the forest and nobody is around, does it make a sound? No, it doesn't. It doesn't even exist. There is no tree, there is no forest. All right? Only if your awareness is on it. When you're manifesting someone, are they also manifesting you? Maybe, if you want. I've worked with a client that said they started making the intention that their person was manifesting them. And then a couple of days later, they found out that their person was. So remember, you have final say-so of the story. It's an open book for you. You get to write the story however you want. I've had it. That was actually a pretty cool story. Make it about you. Make it about you. He really loves you. So to make more money, you just realize the truth of who you are, that you are money. You are prosperity. Okay? There's no lack of prosperity. It's the quote that I was saying earlier, right? You don't fight off the dark to allow the sun in. You simply open your eyes and realize the sun has been there the whole time. You simply remember that you've been prosperity the whole time. That's it. Okay. But let's talk practical. Let's get a little bit practical. But what if there's another girl? There's only another girl because your awareness is on her. There is nobody else. If it's really that hard for you to get her out of your mind, every single time he is with somebody else, it is driving him closer to you. It's making him fiend you more. Y'all need to start making y'all stories fun. Every time he thinks about you, right, he fiends for you. He cannot get enough of you. There is nobody else in your reality but you. You're the one who tells the story. That person wouldn't even exist without your awareness. They don't exist without your awareness, okay? So with prosperity, right, let's make this a little bit practical. Remember, okay? Remember, money can come in how many ways? Infinite ways. Money can come in infinite. How are you perceiving money flowing in your life? How many ways are you open to money flowing to you? Are you open to money just flowing to you from a random refund check showing up in the mail? Are you open to it flowing to you? Let me tell you one of the craziest stories with a client that I always talk about, right? And she needed amount of money. Not a small amount of money. A big amount of money. Okay? She needed a big ass amount of money. All right? Like $10,000. What actually happened? Okay? Not millions. Like 10K. All right? She decided that she had the money. She made up her mind, okay, I have this money. And then she told me, I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to do anything for this money. I just have it. It's mine. I am open to all possibilities. She ended up having friends over at her crib. Okay? When her friends left, she found a lottery ticket. She thought one of them left the lottery ticket. Called all of them. Hey, did you leave this? No. Did you leave this? No. Did you leave this? No. Scratch off, right? When she scratched it off, guess how much money she won? More than she needed. You don't have to lift a fucking finger. You don't have to lift a fucking finger. You don't have to lift a fucking finger. So this is the power of your assumption. This is the power of source. Okay? The more that you open up to the miracles that can show up in your life, the more that they can show up. All right? If you're open to only things flowing in a certain logical way, well, guess what? That's what reality says yes. But the moment you become open to miracles, you start seeing your life as a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Like I told you, all right, let me tell y'all my story, okay? So whenever I was about to get fucking evicted, didn't know what the hell I was going to do. All right? I owed about $7,000. about $7,200, something like that. Okay. So thought I was gonna get evicted. At that time, I was driving Uber Eats. I wasn't making no fucking money. I asked everybody. Okay, I constantly went back to, I have the money. It's paid. It is paid in full. It is paid in full. It is paid in full, right? There was no way I was gonna make the money. Nobody could give me that amount of money. But I stayed faithful to that assumption. Guess what happened? That money was just magically paid. I didn't get a check. I never got the money. But when I went and checked, when I was supposed to go to court for my eviction, it was paid in full. Who did it? Don't know. Even when I called, couldn't get a name. But it was paid. Who did it? Who did it? I can't tell you to this day, but that opened my eyes that I have never been alone. Never been alone. There we go. There we go. If you seem to not have money, then you are manifesting that too. But from that point, I'm going to tell you how my mind changed. From that point, I went all in. I already went all in because I had no backup plan. I had no backup plan. But I went all in, right? Like, oh shit. I don't ever have to wonder how things are going to happen anymore. I just simply have to know that it's done. Because when that was happening, all I felt was doubt. My nervous system wasn't regulated at all. I wasn't feeling light and love. I was feeling like barbed wire. There was no light and love. There was no light and love. There was no butterflies. I was always anxious. But I was faithful to the end. There was no backup plan. And so even after that, right, this is how I know. So even before you get evicted, you have to go a little while without paying, right? They don't just evict you after 1 month. Typically it's like 2 months, and then they got to take you to court, and then a bunch of things happen, right? So in my mind, I was like, oh shit, okay, I have about 2 months and 10 days to turn myself around. To turn this life around. I have this amount of time, or I do not want to be in this situation again. So I completely changed my identity. Was I nervous still? Yes. I was still nervous. There were still questions in my mind like, dang, what happened? Was it a fluke? Are they trying to trick me? What's going on? But I continued to stay faithful. And then my life changed. Right? My life changed. I got a better job at that time. Started doing a bunch of other things. Everything started to fall into place. But it was the identity first. That's why I'll say, before you get that SP to marry you, you have to marry the version of you that SP is faithful to. You have to be faithful to that version of you. Before that money can show up, you have to be faithful to the version of you that has money. You got to commit to yourself so reality can commit to you. You have to marry yourself. The doubt is fine. The anxiety is fine. It's just part of the human experience. It's not stopping anything. It's just part of your ego being like, oh, I don't know, Alice. You slipped in your car before. We didn't like that. We might have to do that again. It's just thinking of stories to keep you safe. But that is fine. But that is absolutely fine. Because God always makes a way. Always makes a way. I'm not here to put my faith in my ego. I put my faith in I am. Okay? Nah, for sure, brother. We all in this together. It's fair. How you doing? Yes, the ego. That was a bar. The ego triggers an uncertainty, but God is still. Trust our power. If I feel like I've been tortured, will I see something in return for this? No. No, you won't. No, you won't. No, you won't. Because I'm not going to speak that over the version of you in my reality, man. You right now, with every thought that you have the ability to say, this is how I identify with myself right now, or this is just an old thought with an old version of me that I do not have to experience anymore. You can make that choice, so make that choice. With every thought, begin to make that choice. Is that thought who you are right now, or is it just an old version of you? You're always choosing. You're always choosing who you are. Yeah, I understand you. Go on and drop the book. Go on and drop the book. Robert Scheinfeld. Sounds very familiar. Check it out. I always go through the comments, so I like when y'all say interesting things. I always go back through them. The book that changed my mind on money was You Too Can Be Prosperous by Dr. Robert Russell. You Too Can Be Prosperous by Dr. Robert Russell. And it's fine if it hurts. Allow it to hurt. That's fine. That's fine, but you still are exactly who you desire to be. The feelings are cool. You're still exactly who you want to be because you choose to, right? This is that scene in The Matrix, right? When Neo's getting his ass beat by Agent Smith. Keeps getting his ass beat, keeps getting up. And Agent Smith is like, why? You must know that it's useless by now. You must know you can't win. Why do you persist? And Neo simply says, because I choose to. The situation can look like whatever. It can look like nothing is working out. But still, I persist because I've already made the fucking choice. I've already chosen. Because I have already chosen, I persist. I choose to. Okay? I choose to. Why do you persist? Why do you persist? I appreciate you, Shelly. Where did I learn? I learned in the school of hard knocks. I learned through life. Nah, but the first person that really clicked with me was Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard was the first one that clicked. Okay, it was Neville. But the first time I listened to Neville, it didn't click. The first time I listened to Neville, I was like, what the fuck is this man talking about? I was like, who is this old ass man and why is he talking like this? I had to go back to Neville, and then that's when it clicked, right? But honestly, once I kind of woke up, I had a bunch of mystical experiences after I went all in with my housing situation. Once I went through that housing situation, that's when I was like, oh shit, I'm going to go all in. When I went all in, that's when I started to have my own interpretation of even scripture, right? A lot of the things that I talk about in scripture, I didn't learn that shit from anybody, right? This is all just the metaphysical perspective that sources blessed me to see. All right? So, yeah, good old Neville. But I do like Florence Scovel Shinn. I like Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't agree with everything that everybody says, though. I don't really think there's anybody that I agree with 100%. Which is fine. Which is perfect because we're all just unique, right? The interesting thing about the law is that there is only one law. It's I am. God is everything. So therefore, I'm always creating laws underneath that umbrella of I am, which is fine. Right? This is how it's supposed to be, right? I can only provide you a template of my beliefs, right? And then you take that, and then you take whatever else out there, and you create your own perspective or your own template, and that becomes your life, right? And then you live the life of your dreams. Beautiful. Perfect. This is what we're here for, right? You're here to live the life of your dreams, right? You're not here to become an echo chamber for your boy. You are simply here to live the life of your damn dream, right? The Bible can be mixed with New Age doctrine. That's confusing. The Bible is just the Bible, man. You're trying to claim it. No, the Bible. Why are you reading the Bible if you're not a Christian? Because I still want to learn from the Bible, man. But no, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Christian. But if somebody was like, okay, what are you? I enjoy the Bible. I enjoy the Bible. I enjoy the parables of the Bible. Okay, here we go. 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 I thought there was going to be an open-minded, I thought it was an open-minded question. I didn't know that you was trying to. This is dangerous. Watch what you're doing. Stop. Stop that shit. How do you work on not being afraid of being seen? Like showing up online for your business? Okay, I would ask you this question. I would say, what if you never got over the fear of being seen? What if you never got over the fear of being seen? And you simply had to confront that fear over and over again. Remember, when we just focus on the things that are comfortable in our life, we can often end up making unconscious decisions still. All right? Just making these unconscious decisions because we're just avoiding fear, and we end up taking a path and we just eliminate our free will. You have a desire in your heart to be seen doing something, right? Because Source is placing that within you. And because Source is placing that within you, now, what do you have to do? You just have something to confront, that fear of being seen. That's fine. Allow yourself to use that fear. What is that fear trying to teach you or show you? What do you have to believe to be true to have that fear of being seen? Now you can confront it from that perspective. It might be something like, well, people might judge you. Sure. They might. That's what it is. Okay? But should that stop you? What if one person that hears your message can be helped? Anytime you turn on this live, I hear live, bloop, I already know, right? Not everybody's going to resonate with the message, and that's fine. But one person being like, bro, I'm grateful, right? This has helped me, pay these bills. This has helped me step into a different relationship with money. This has helped me get the person of my dreams. That's worth it, right? So how do you know that the message that is on your heart to speak isn't a message that somebody else needs to hear? And so denying the world that message, well, that message is still going to find a way to get through, right? Because God's prosperity can't be blocked. But what is that saying about you, right? Don't allow your prosperity can come in so many different ways. Just you stepping out, right? Just you confronting those fears can lead to so much prosperity. And I know the Bible and Christianity is not the same. I'm not Christian. And then what are some affirmations I can use to help you get over it? Okay, let's think of some, okay? Okay. What about something like, the calling in my heart is proof that God stands with me? Right? I don't feel you. The desire in my heart, the desire to give to other people, is proof that God is with me, right? And from that point of power, now you can actually walk forward and do what you want, right? Now you can actually walk forward and confront those fears. I'm not using ego. I'm just saying I don't feel you. If you have something right now in your heart, you have something in your heart, that means God is with you right now. And because God is with you right now, now I can walk through life. I can attack whatever is in front of me with the knowing that God is with me. Matter of fact, let's write these down. Let's write these down. Okay. Affirmations. Guys, remember, there's only one law. There's I am. There's no Satan out there. There's no demons out there. There's no devils out there. But the moment that I start invoking those laws in my life, that becomes my reality. The moment that I start saying this is demonic, guess what? That's an affirmation in this moment. Remember that. That's an affirmation in this moment. There is only one power. There is only God. There is only source. Only all that there is. There are no opposing powers tearing you down. That is simply an assumption that other people make. Let other people live in their limitations. You have none. All right? Let other people live in their limitations, right? People will try to pull you to their limitations. No, hey, you're doing too good up there. Come back down here with me. That's not a righteous way. Why? Why? So why would I even entertain that? Why would I even entertain that? All right, so affirmations. Because Source has placed the promise in my heart, then that is proof that because Source has placed the promise in my heart, that is proof that I am divinely protected. Shit, even if it is ChatGPT, so what? You saying is what I just told you ChatGPT? Be fighting back. Keep fighting back. Okay, because Source has placed the promise in my heart, that is proof that I am divinely protected. Okay? Nothing outside of me has the power to stop what Source has started. Okay? There's number two. Nothing outside of me has the power to stop what Source has started. Okay, so those are two right there. Number one is because Source has placed the promise in my heart. That is proof that I am divinely protected. Okay, and then number two is nothing outside of me has the power to stop what Source has promised. Let's say promised. Okay, so that's two. Let's do one more. Let's do one more for threes, okay? Let's do one more to make it a good old three, right? All right, let's see here. If you believe in God in heaven, you have to believe in hell. No, you do. You have to believe in hell. I don't have to believe, and I don't have to believe in anything but what I say. That's the whole thing, right? That's the whole thing. Okay. Let's think of one more for you to confront limiting beliefs. Every step I take is proof of God's love. Okay? No man can stop what God has placed in motion. All right, so we got 3 right there. So hopefully those help. Okay, we got 3 right there. Hopefully those help. Number 1, because Source has placed the promise in my heart, that is proof that I am divinely protected. Okay, number 2, nothing outside of me has the power to stop what Source has promised. And then number 3, every step I take is proof of God's love. No man can stop what God has placed in motion. Beautiful. Beautiful, right? So I think those 3 can help. And of course, I'm going to upload this to YouTube. The document is all yours, right? So you can use that information. You can download them. You can rewrite them however you want. But hopefully those help, right? Remember, those quote unquote limiting beliefs, they're just pushing you to a deeper understanding of yourself. That's it, right? Because I'm not here to debate religious concepts, man. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to help y'all get the life that you desire, right? If the conversation is not geared towards that, I have no desire in debating religion. Religion is a very difficult topic to debate anyway. Even the Bible itself, you can go back and forth and contradict yourself so many different times. So it's not what we're talking about. It's not what we're doing, right? Debating for the point of nothing, right? But these are uploaded, right? So you have these. You can do whatever you want with them. Okay? You can do whatever you want with them. Okay? Cool. All right, here we go. What other questions y'all got? Life is just perspective, right? Which is the beautiful, beautiful thing about life, right? Is that, like I say, there's only one law. It's I am. I am. God is everything. And then after that, everything that we say is just a concession. Everything that we say is just invoking the name of God to create laws in our life. Life is just a big game of perception. Big game of perspective of stories. If you did not have a memory of your mother, who would she be to you? Okay? If you did not have a perspective of your SP, who would they be to you, right? Think of that person that you really want. If the person that you really wanted, if you had no memory of them right now, who would they be? Would they be important? Would they be special? What makes them special? What makes them special? It's you. It's the stories that you tell about them. It's how you feel about them, right? It's who they are to you. You are the one who breathes beauty into the world, into every situation. All right, we can be in 2 different situations. One person sees nothing but the end times and the apocalypse, right? And another person sees beauty. You can go on a dinner date with somebody and sit down. One of you just complains about the service the whole time. The other person enjoys the ambiance, enjoys the time, enjoys all of that. It's just perspective. This is all reality comes down to, is perspective, right? That's it. And this is the choice for heaven. This is the choice for heaven, right? Heaven is not some faraway place. Hell is not some faraway place. These are the illusions of separation that we are sold to. We're sold for control. This illusion of fear, right? Anything that tries to control you with fear, it's something that should be questioned. Right? I remember when elections not too long ago when they were walking around saying vote or die. I was like, oh God, vote or die, huh? Is it that serious? Well, it turns out everybody is still alive. The moment that we start using fear as a tactic, you must do this or you will burn for it. It's not the same God that I believe in. That is not the same God that I believe in, right? So you have a right to your perspective. We all have a right to our perspectives. We all do. Right? Even in the Old Testament, we talk about fear of God, right? When we talked about the metaphysical meaning, even of the story of Job, right? Job was a righteous man that feared God and shunned evil. What does that mean? Feared God and shunned evil. It's this belief in 2 powers and duality. Because even the story of Job is a story of enlightenment. It's a story of a spiritual process, right? Where Job is talking to his quote unquote 3 friends. Each of those 3 friends represent a different aspect of consciousness, a different aspect of his consciousness, right? And so Job had to combat all of these different beliefs within himself, right? till finally he silenced them. He had to go through his wife, which just represented his marriage to third dimensional circumstances as well. And once he silenced all those, he was actually able to talk to his higher self. When he was actually able to talk to his higher self, that's when actually the voice of God showed up. But if you remember, even in the beginning, what was this question that Satan had? Does Job fear God for nothing? Does Job fear God for nothing? Right? No, Job didn't. Job thought that his fear of the law, his shunning of evil, right, by human perceptions, human standards, thinking that there's right and wrong, and if I do right based on what the humans say, then I will get money. I will get more. Even remember the story of the Pharisees. Okay? What do the Pharisees represent? The Pharisees represent division consciousness. All right? The Pharisees saw Jesus healing on a Saturday, and they didn't care about the healing. They didn't care he was changing lives. What did they say? You've been healing on the Sabbath. Just irrelevant to them. They don't care. They didn't care that people's lives were changing. People were coming into more money. People were healing. They were only concerned with what? The law that was written down in the scrolls, right? This is very telling. Jesus called them what? Whitewashed tombs. Jesus, representing your I am awareness, called them whitewashed tombs. They were clean on the outside. They followed the laws, the quote unquote laws, but they have no relationship to source. They had no personal relationship, right? What we're here for is the personal relationship. You're here for the personal relationship, to feel God flowing through every step that you take in your life. The knowing that God is closer to you than you are to yourself. That God is not this wrathful, vengeful punisher, but a being of love, just spirit of love, spirit of light. This is the message of Jesus. The message of unity, of oneness. All right? This is the message. Well, I've been judged beautifully already. I've been judged beautifully already. But I appreciate your concern for me. All right? I appreciate your concern for me, but I have already been judged beautifully. And I accept it. Right? That also in itself, right, is that ego, right? Thinking that you can come down here and speak of God's judgment towards me. Who the fuck are you? Who are you? Who the hell are you to say that, right? It's like we're supposed to look at each other like gods and goddesses, that we stand around cursing each other. Like, we stand around cursing each other, right? But it is what it is. That's well, man. That's well. But y'all remember, you are already, the point of even this whole conversation, right? Right now, you're already in perfect alignment with everything you desire. Everything that you desire. You are in absolute perfect alignment. Because you are source, because source is within you. And because of this, right, everything in your life is unfolding perfectly for you. Perfectly. You simply have to have the righteous eyes to see so, right? This is why Jesus said, judge not by appearance, but judge righteously. We almost said that shit wrong. Judge not by appearance, but judge righteously. Because from a human perspective, we can't judge. We can't judge what it is because we can only see such a small percentage of reality. Right? But if you just follow those specific things, right? Because I know that I am the temple of God. I am the dwelling place of the Most High. I'm the identity of the Spirit of God. This means all things that are likened to God will be added in my life. Okay, boom, that's perfect. Perfect right there. Okay, number 2, now I judge righteously. It doesn't matter what the situation looks like. The God within me is perfect. So the situation must be unfolding perfectly. Boom. That's another gem. Okay, that's an absolute gem right there. Then we go to Job 22:28. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be added unto you. Boom. Okay? When you follow those things, right? Now all of a sudden your life becomes this walking miracle. You no longer look outside of you for the miracle, right? You're no longer sitting in people's lives just judging, steaming, angry, mad, right? You're out creating the life of your dreams. That is what I want for you, to create the life of your dreams. This is what Source wants for you, is to create the life of your dreams. Right? I want you to have no time to do things like that. I want you to have absolutely no time to do things like that because you are in life, enjoying life, enjoying what God is doing for you in your life. Huh? Good. What other questions y'all got? Oh shit, my bad. I didn't even see y'all here, my brother. My bad. What's up, brother? Hello? Dang, can you hear me? Is it my service? All right, either my brother got his phone in his pocket and I'm not trying to get nobody caught up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get nobody caught up. Don't feel sorry for me. I love my life. I'm living a good life. Don't feel sorry for me. Don't. You don't have to. Right? Life is good over here. My relationship with God is solid. Right? My relationship with God is solid. But I don't want to get anybody caught up. I think my brother's phone was in his pocket or I was having service issues. Man. I appreciate you. Guess what? I'm still here. But so remember, when we talk about source being within you, right? God being within you, I am believing what I want. Of course. I am believing what I want. That's what we're here for, okay? And you have the right to believe what you want too. And I appreciate you for going about your business and doing that. Okay, so remember, the knowing that we are source, because that's a good question. Just because I know I am source, how can it sink in? How can I feel that? What if, and I always ask these what if questions back to y'all because they are important, all right? There it is again, okay? So how do I keep the identity of I am? What if you never quote unquote feel it? What if you don't feel it, that you're source? What if it doesn't just sink in and you feel some kind of special way? Okay, then what? Because remember, it says in the beginning was the word, right? Not in the beginning was the feeling. Feelings are meant to be enjoyed. They're part of your human experience, right? They're part of your human experience. So, but it said in the beginning was the word, right? God said, let there be light. It didn't say God said, let there be light. And then God felt the light. And then the subconscious was reprogrammed, right? It said, let there be light. This is what the spirit of source said. Let there be light. Your feelings, right? Why? Here's the question that I ask. Why try to change and manipulate your feelings? Why try to change and manipulate the external circumstances when they're going to change anyway? They're going to change anyway. You're good. Like, let's say you feel good right now. What if you get bad news tomorrow? Your feelings will change anyway. You could wake up on the wrong side of the bed. It could be a gloomy day outside. Your feelings could change anyway. Why struggle and wrestle changing what is just temporary? It's just temporary anyway. Why not just experience your emotions, but detach from the need to give them such importance in your life? If you're sad, feel sad. What do I have to believe to be true right now? And I use these experiences to work on myself. When I'm happy or excited, then I enjoy those moments in time, but I don't make them God. My brother said, yapping. See, I don't want y'all to be miserable like these people. Huh? But when I feel good, right? When I feel good, then I enjoy those situations. When I feel bad, when I feel jealous, when I feel nervous or anything like that, now I can ask myself, what do I have to believe to be true to feel this way? And now I use everything, right? I use everything to bring me closer to myself, to give me a greater understanding of myself. Beautiful. Okay? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So the importance is not in quote unquote feeling, right? Stop trying to feel like you're God. Stop trying to be in alignment and simply know that because you are source, you already are. You thank the feeling, right? Enjoy the feelings as they come and go. I like that question, right? Damn, there was another SP question. I just can't scroll up because y'all type too damn fast. But copy and paste it in about 10 seconds. What do we do with this knowledge if the world we are in isn't changing? Okay, if the world we are in isn't changing and some can't see. Okay, think about it like this. Okay, think about it like this. You are creating on an individual level, and then we are all creating on a on a collective level as well. Okay, meaning, am I going to sit down in my room right now and meditate and create world peace? No. As a collective, this is how the world works, okay? So when you walk outside, there's a big ass ball of fire out there somewhere. It's called the sun. The sun shoots beams of light. Okay? Those beams of light travel through wherever and they go into your eyes, okay? Your eyes absorb that sunlight. There's only one mind, right? There's only one mind. Now, as a collective, all of us think of an image or a perspective. The American dream. We all imagine this American dream. I work till I'm 78, then I retire, and then I enjoy 2 years of my life when I'm crippled, and then I die, right? The quote unquote American dream, yay. So as a collective, we are imagining this, okay? And so that light that travels in our eyes takes this information, translates it to an image, shoots it back out of our eyes, and then we see everything. So even world peace is greater than just one person sitting in the corner and meditating, right? So we, as a collective, are manifesting a reality as well. This is why you're fed certain information. This is why, right? The moment you pop out your womb, they slap a social on your ass, teach you how to work, right? Teach you how to be a good little servant, right? This is all the purpose of it. So certain people can benefit off of that. Right? But there is a collective consciousness at play because why? There's only one mind. Now, even though there's only one mind and everything is built on this, right? On get that tongue down and shit. Now, so even though there is one mind, right? And everybody right now is creating this, I still have on an individual level, I still have the option to choose what impacts me. I can still say, I'm checked out of politics, man. Fuck that. I can still do all of those things. But on a collective level, am I going to manifest world peace? I can manifest peace in my reality. Remember, my reality is my world. My reality is my world. The people I care about, I can bring forth the best version of them to interact with them in my reality. That's my world. Okay? My world is not sitting around and crumbling the structure of American politics, okay? That would take much more than me. There we go. So why does my manifestation SP keep wavering? I am missing something, all right? I'm saying this out of love. The question itself is an assumption, all right? Let's really break down the question that you're asking. Why does my manifestation SP keep wavering? Now let's look at that second part. I'm missing something. I'm missing something is an affirmation, isn't it? You're saying that you're missing something. You're still trying to find something new. What are you affirming by trying to find something new? I'm affirming that I'm right now not the person that has it. There we go. My brother Caleb just hit the nail. Even wavering is an affirmation. It's an assumption. Even me saying I'm wavering is an assumption. It's just me invoking law. Right? So here's the thing, right? We have to be still and know that I am God. Stop trying Stop believing you're not missing anything. Okay, here we go. I stay firm, but it happens. Once again, that's an affirmation. This is like me saying, I'm doing everything right, but everything out there keeps change. It doesn't change. I'm doing everything right, at least, but reality is wavering. You hear what I'm saying? What that is saying, right? What I'm actually saying, and I'm gonna. I don't know. I see you got it right, but I want to make this point because I do think that this is something that people experience. Is even me saying I'm doing it right, but everything after the but is always bullshit. Right? Everything after the but is always bullshit. I am prosperity. There's no but. Right? So the moment that I'm starting to say, but nothing is changing, reality says yes. Your word is always invoking God. There's only right now. So if right now I'm saying that I've been doing everything right, I'm standing firm, but nothing is changing, guess what? Reality says, cool. Cool. Listen another 10 minutes. You might learn something a little bit more, but we ain't talking about nothing religion here. All right? So this is your power. This is your power, okay? The moment that you know yourself as source, okay? Now you know that every word that you speak is law. Every word that you speak is law in your reality. All right? So even me saying it's not working is an affirmation. Why is it working? I don't need to see that you've changed to know that you've changed. I simply know that I have changed, and therefore you must change. Okay? All right? I don't need to know that you've changed. I don't need to see that you've changed to know that you've changed. I know that you have changed, therefore you must change. Okay? Dog, still waiting for people to save them, right? You're still waiting for people to say you're still outsourcing your power. Still outsourcing your power, right? The only person that can save you is you. That's it. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's descending from anywhere. No, nobody's coming. You already have everything that you need to save yourself. Okay? And so the moment that you realize that and you begin to speak power in every single moment of your life, okay? This is when the game changes. This is when everything changes. All right? So be careful with your words. Make sure that right now, what you are saying in this moment, okay, is the story that you want to live by. Do you want to live by the story of, yeah, I'm doing everything right, but nothing's changing? Or do you want to live in the story that because I have changed, everything is changing? Right? My dog still lingering. I'm talking to y'all, not him. All right? Be mindful of the story that you are telling in this moment. Be mindful of the story that you are telling in this moment. All right? Everything is the law of God. Everything is invoking the law of God in your life. Everything. All right? It's working. It's not working. When do you truly know that something is working? When do you truly know that something is working? When you make the choice that it is. Once you make the choice, boom, that's when it's working. But the moment you're waiting for external validation, I'm waiting for this person to act different, right? Remember, identity always trumps circumstance. Identity comes first. The moment that I'm like, oh, because they're doing this, I must be doing something wrong, I'm basing my identity on circumstance, okay? I have to stand firm in my power. I have changed. I have decided who I am. Therefore, reality must react. Reality must reflect that to me. Because I have decided, reality must reflect it. But the moment I start looking in reality and I say, reality's not looking right. Reality is wavering. So I must be doing something right. Now I'm basing my identity on reality. When reality is conforming to me. But if I'm conforming to reality, now we just stay, what? We just stay in this loop. Do you get that? Does that make sense? When I stand firm in my identity, no matter what I see out there, reality must change. But when I become, I don't know if I'm doing this right, let me check reality. Right? So this is where your power is. Okay, perfect. If we say it's wavering, then it is. It's always you're always making law. This is how simple it is. You saying you're wavering is you wavering. Just the fact that you're still trying to find more is you right now declaring that you are not who you want to be. This is where these conversations are hopefully pushing y'all. It's to know that you have it within you, right? You can retire from Alexander's lives. You can retire. I'm done with this. Time to go live the life that I want. I no longer need more. I have everything within me. I always have. I've never been in lack. This is how I even try to get y'all's consults. One and done. I want y'all one and done. I want y'all one and done. Figure it out. Get out there. Live your life. Let's go. I want the success story. I'm fiending for the success story. Tell me what happened. What happened? Right? But this is your power. It's all you. Who are you actually being? If I'm somebody that's looking for a new technique, right? I'm affirming I'm not that person. If I'm trying to figure out how they're going to hit me up, I'm affirming I'm not the person that has them. I'm not the person that they're fiending for. Okay? So your power is always in who you're being. If I had it, if I knew that it was unfolding for me now, would I be acting like this? Would I be thinking like this? Would I be asking these types of questions? Boom. Now you can start to pull back your power from that perspective. I was letting people up, but some people wanted to debate religion. I wasn't really trying to debate religion. That means that knowing by mind the identity of the I am, we can keep it. Exactly. 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 Knowing that I am. Knowing that I am. Just that knowing. That's the identity. You don't have to try to be that identity. You just are that identity. That's it. You no longer have to work. No, like even if right now you feel good and tomorrow you wake up, I don't feel so good. I don't know if I'm in alignment. You are. You are. Oh, I think I need some more information. No, you don't. Make the decision. Choose. 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 Right? I'll give you a good reminder. I'll give you a good reminder. You can tune in for some reminders or whatever. I'll keep you stable on that right path. But you have all this information within you. You already know what to do. You don't need a coach, a guru, a mentor, a YouTube, a TikTok. You don't need none of that. You don't need any of that. Okay? When you enjoy the techniques, do them. I'm not against any techniques, okay? I'm not. I know it sounds like I am sometimes, but I'm not. I'm simply against you not knowing where your power resides, right? Don't get in the car with no engine in it. The affirmation without you has no engine. It's just a nice car with no engine. Don't do the affirmations to get something. Do them to remind yourself of who you are. Do it from the knowing that you are already all that there is. Okay? That's it. Do it from the knowing that you are everything that you desire to be right now. And then make it fun and light. This is what they're supposed to be. If it feels like work, rethink. Right? The visualization, the affirmation, reality creation should feel fun. It should feel fun. Right? So yeah. What do I think an empath is? I think anybody who says they're an empath, that's what an empath is, right? Like I said, I can't pull a thermometer out and shove it up everybody's ass and say, okay, boom, I got the empath thermometer. Fart on it. If it beeps twice, you're an empath. If not, give me that shit back, right? It's like to say that I feel deeply. Okay, cool. You feel deeply. Is that making me an empath or not? I don't know, right? It's just whatever you say it is. That's what it is. How can I measure is my feeling more than yours relative to you. How do I know, right? I don't know what you feel. I don't know what you think. I don't know what you've experienced. That was a lot. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry. But that was a lot. Right? But I can't tell what anybody else feels or experiences. So even me saying I'm an empath is just based on my own perspective of what that is, right? I've created it in my mind. This is the thing, right? Like my brother this is the thing, is that we start to speak. Okay? We start to speak and say all these things, and we start creating limitations in our life. Oh, I'm such a Scorpio. I'm such a Capricorn. I'm such an asparagus rising, right? I just can't be bothered with these things. I'm such a Capricorn, right? Like we're the ones who create these limitations, right? We are the ones that create these limitations. Now, am I saying that an empath is not real? No. Am I saying that your zodiac sign, your rising sign, and your big three, your human design is not real? Of course not. I'm not saying that. I'd be a fool, right? I've told y'all how I got into astrology. I got into it through a profound mystical experience that made me want to sit in the corner for about 3 weeks and contemplate the meaning of life. All right? But if I make them a prison, that's what they will be. The mind can make a master out of whatever it wants. The mind can create a prison of whatever it wants, right? So I'm a Scorpio, right? And one of the things that, Scorpios, we're jealous and controlling, Alex. I used to buy into that. Well, I had to be jealous, right? But then I was like, you know what? Is this really how I want all my relationships to be? Especially when I found somebody that I cared about. Is this how I want my relationships to be? Now, I had to make a choice. I could say, but I'm just a Scorpio. That's the way it is. At the risk of losing something I wanted, right? Or I could have confronted that part of me. What is this jealousy trying to tell me? What do I have to believe to be true to be feeling jealous all the time? Do I feel inadequate? Do I really feel like I'm destined by God to walk around feeling inadequate? Or do I believe I'm all that there is? Right? So all of these things were just choices. And by confronting those quote unquote limitations, it got me a deeper understanding of myself. That was it. And I think the same about life path numbers, man. But me personally, I never really got into life path numbers. Right? But I would say the same thing about them as a zodiac sign. I would say, cool, yes, they have truth, they have meaning. Maybe these things are just meant to show you places where you can transcend. Maybe they're just meant to help you out. But I don't believe any sign that spirit gives us is meant to be a limitation. I don't think we're meant to come into life and sources like, let me give you a handicap, right? Yeah, let me make that one's leg short, right? Let's just give him a little handicap so he can't get through life, right? I don't think that is the meaning of it at all. I think it's just, I think it's just guidance. You have the ability to transcend whatever. Right. Yeah, for sure. Like tarot cards, right? And then even when we think of these things like tarot cards, that is really a perspective of the path that you are on right now. But I can change the version of myself right now again. So yeah, if I stay on the same trajectory, then sure, the tarot card could speak life into my situation. It could energetically read who I am right now. But because I am source and there's only one law, I am, and I am transcends all of that, right? Even tarot is a concession to all that there is. My zodiac sign is a concession to all that there is. My life path, all of these things are concessions to all that there is. And so when I realize that nothing becomes my prison, everything simply becomes a choice. Okay? So whenever you see something in these charts that's not what you want, maybe, right? It's not actually pushing you down a path that you don't want to go on. It's just giving you an ability to transcend. It's just pointing out something that you can accomplish and feel proud of yourself for. You're an absolutely unlimited being. You're absolutely unlimited. Now, why these things are valid, I know I joke around a lot, so I'm not discrediting anything for its validity. Everything is intentional, right? Source didn't put the stars in certain places just for shits and giggles, right? They're there for a reason. They're there to tell you certain things. But to believe that Source is limiting you by these things when you are Source, that is where the issue is. That was clear, so I know that made sense. That was clear, so I know that made sense. I appreciate you, Miss Christina. I always appreciate you. Absolutely unlimited, not a limitation in sight. The only limitations we have are the ones that we box ourselves into. Right? That's it. Other than that, I'm absolutely limitless, absolutely perfect. My bad. I always ignore Instagram. Instagram engagement is so terrible. Which in itself is an assumption, right? I know y'all got on me last time I said that shit. That is an assumption in itself. It's definitely a story. It's definitely a story. Whenever I first started doing content, right? Because how I actually got into content, hopefully this story helps somebody to get into content. Whenever I first started getting into content, it was because one of my homegirls, like I always have close relationships with women in my life, right? And they always ask my perspective on different things, okay? So they will ask my perspective on everything from relationships to God, all this. I've always been in that way, right? And so I would always respond to certain things she said. Like, I agree, and I think, I like that point, and I feel like that kind of leads into this and yada yada. We would have discussions, and one in particular was like, why don't you just talk about this? You should do content. And I just was like, okay, cool. At that time, I was just open to whatever. I'm like, sure, whatever, why not? So I just started doing content. The first content I did was relationship content, but I was only doing it on Instagram. On Instagram. On Instagram, I had at one point I had 65,000 followers on Instagram, just doing relationship stuff. And then when I switched to manifestation and spiritual contents, I have not picked up any speed on Instagram. It's been a constant decline, right? It's been a constant decline. I've been losing followers all the time. But on TikTok and YouTube, it's like this gradual grind up, right? So TikTok and YouTube is kind of where the focus is. Instagram, I kind of just let it be. Every once in a while, I just go look at it, and I just have one comment, and it's like, shut the fuck up. Oh, shit. Okay, cool, bro. Thanks. Right, so it's funny because when I was first doing content, the takeoff was so slow. It was such an interesting process because one of the first videos that I posted went viral on Instagram, but I got no followers out of it. So I was just around a couple hundred followers for such a long time. And I was just posting every day. And at first, the people that are close to you would be like, hey, I like what you're posting. Good job. Then eventually they disappear and you're in this void. The void where you only got a couple followers and every post only is 1 or 2 likes, and you don't know what you're doing, but you're just putting out this message because if it helps one person, that's cool. And eventually I started getting better and the catalog started to increase. I was doing this for a while. And there was a moment where I started looking at my content and I started actually going back. Because I don't, even to this day, I still don't really listen to my content again. I record it, I post it, I move on. But I went back and started listening to some of my first pieces, and I was like, wow, just from putting stuff out, I got better naturally. Okay. Then I had one of the women that were close to me, she bought me a mic. And then one of the old companies I used to work for when I was still in corporate, they gave me this webcam, and I set up this webcam, and that was a wrap. So things just kind of lined up. But just the natural progression, even now, these lives, when I first was on live, I was like, bro, what the fuck am I going to talk about? Now I would prefer live because I don't have to edit. I just start talking and I just hit end and it's automatically on YouTube and I don't have to ever touch it again. It's convenient as hell. But to think that I would be doing this a year and a half ago, I did not believe it. So why I'm saying that is that if you have just an inkling that you can help one person, in the beginning, if you have something to say, right, and you just start talking and don't put a number on it like, oh, I'm going to do this for a month. There was one point where I said I was going to do this for 90 days. Okay, it was after a couple months of posting. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to post every day for 90 days. By the time I got to about 60, nothing had happened. There was no difference. Got a couple more followers, a couple more engagement. Certain people were kind of engaging with me more. But nothing happened. The only thing that happened through that 90 days is I just developed consistency to the point where I was just like, you know what? This is just it just became who I was. Right? I was just showing up. I was posting content. I was engaging with whoever. I was helping a couple people. I got a couple people that were like, hey, you should do consults. Okay, cool. Started setting up, started doing free consults. And then I was helping people that way. At that time, it was primarily men. But I was always putting this bit of spirituality in the relationship content because that's who I've always been. Right? So just by me doing that, I was naturally starting to pull people that could use the help. Right? And so that was allowing me to feel more purposeful and intentional, right? Just that 1-2 like per post. 1 comment every 3, 4, 5, 6 posts. 1 person that would send me a long DM about something that's going on and I would be able to give them some insight and help. That was purposeful. That was purposeful. And so when I finally started to evolve, now I have way more, like I still have certain clients that I talk to from that day, and our conversations have evolved from relationship to more going down the spiritual path. And I have all kinds of people I talk to, from people that are just like, hey, I'm dipping into spirituality. I want to see, what do you recommend? And we'll have conversations on that. To people that know the law in totality and just need some limiting beliefs cleared. But I never saw me down this path of talking about manifestation. I never envisioned that. It just was one person who told me you should get on camera, and boom, that was it. And from there, it's just been a wrap, right? And now it's to the point where I get on live. It's not work. Like, this is just who I am, right? I was doing this when there was nobody showing. This is just who I am. Now it's I don't know if it's more rewarding per se, but the engagement makes it more fun. But this is just who I am. I'm just a person that gives the information. I just like to do this. Or I would give it, if nobody showed up, I would still put it out there, because maybe in a future life, in a past life, a version of me would stumble upon my video and it would help me out. Maybe. But I know it will help at least one person. Right? So if you have an inkling to do something, you feel called to do something, whether it's a calling from within you, somebody else has planted that seed within you, just do it. You don't know, right? Like, my journey is individual. You don't know if maybe 2 months, 3 months, all of a sudden, boom, you're making money on here that is paying for stuff. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know about the creator reward program until recently. I was like, oh my God, you're monetized. I was like, what are you talking about? You're on TikTok, you monetized, right? You can do that. I was like, then I went and applied, and now every time I post, I get a little bit of change. It's like, oh shit, I would do this for free, but now I get paid for it, right? So you just never know how things can change. You never know, right? And then I think, like, even manifestation, right? It's one of those things right now that a lot of people can jump into. Okay? And there's always these niches, right? And these hot things. I think manifestation is kind of a hot thing right now where everybody's talking about it. You gotta kind of pick and choose who you want to hear, because you're like, I don't know. You kind of look like what you're saying kind of is limiting, right? So you still have to have that perception. But there are so many people that are blowing up every day just by putting their art out. You have seen these edits lately. So I'm an anime guy, right? I've been watching like anime edits on TikTok forever. Like, oh my God, this is great. And one of the things that I actually told you, I'll say that in a second. But one of the edits that have come out recently, have y'all seen like the Creed edit? The Michael Jackson edit to like Demon Slayer? The Creed edit and the Black Panther edit, and they're all using that Kendrick Lamar beat that's going hard, right? How much do you think some of them are getting paid for those edits? Some of those edits are hitting 10, 20 million likes. They're getting paid off of that, right? You just never know, just by putting your work out there, by speaking, by doing whatever. You never know. You never know what can happen. One of the beautiful things about even moving here, right, was in my old apartment, I had those big ass windows. It was a bunch of natural light. So my computers, the screens were very dark. And I used to edit a lot, right? I used to love editing. I got into editing through one of the exes I used to deal with. I got into video editing and fell in love with it. I started doing like with brands and with businesses in Dallas. And then when I moved to that last spot, I just stopped. Well, really before that, 2 spots before, I just stopped. But when I got there, I was going to get back into it. But it was so bright in my place that I could never see the screen, so it was hard to edit. So even getting here, like I can see the screens now. So it's pushed me back into doing editing. Sometimes we walk away from certain things that are called to us without knowing that's where our prosperity could be. How many times do we pray for prosperity and then we ignore those natural talents that we've already been blessed with? You can think of everything that you do as basically a portal of prosperity, right? Whether it's video editing, whether it's art, whether it's speaking, whether it's going to your job, whether it's helping your family, showing up for people. Everything that you do is a portal for prosperity, because you never know how prosperity can flow to you. So take advantage of all those things, right? Especially the things that you like. Like video editing was something that I used to love to do, and then I just was like, oh, it's bright in here, let me just throw it away. Should I have done that? I mean, it all works out perfectly, of course. But it's just one of those things that you can look back on and you can speak about it to other people, so maybe it helps them. All right. So that's the point. Long story short, I can start yapping for a little bit. Somebody already came in here and said yapping. All right, I can start talking for a little bit. But just a little push to say, if you're thinking about doing it, do it. Because there's prosperity, right? Everything that you do can lead to prosperity. Right? Everything. Some of us are praying for prosperity and then avoiding certain things, right? I've been praying for prosperity, but I have a fear of being seen. I'm just saying. Maybe those things are related. Maybe the prosperity is a little closer than you even think it is. All right? Good night. I did have to call you out. I had to. Everybody hold hands while I say this one more time. Maybe that prosperity is not as far as you think it is. Be rich and unfamous. Now, that is one of the things that holds me back. Well, not hold me back. Let me be very intentional with that language. Is, I'm not interested in getting to a point where I just can't go places by myself. I've never been interested in that, right? That's why even just before I hit this live, it's like, okay, if I help one person, perfect. And I still do this because I like it. But I'm sure, I don't know. I just want to be rich as hell, you know what I'm saying? Well, not rich. I don't really have a monetary amount, a goal above where I'm at right now. But because of the nature of me being a trader, I know that the money I can make is unlimited. But I'm in this place where I'm not trying to scale too hard. I have what I want. Like, life is cool. But, but, you know, if you see me driving something real nice, don't say, Alex, you said you didn't like that. Shh, mind your business. God's been good. God's been good. I've been trading for about 2.5 years. Full time for about 1.5 years. I got profitable very quick. I didn't really have an unprofitable. I was unprofitable probably about 3 months. And then I was profitable. And then I started scaling. No. I love that question. So how do you gain all this knowledge? Were you ever weak and scared? For sure. For sure. I'm still scared sometimes. Absolutely. But those are just feelings, right? Nothing. This is the wake up. The waking up isn't into bravery. The waking up is into the remembrance. If being scared is a sin, that's tough. That's a tough assumption to have. That is a tough assumption to have. Remember, I cannot judge anything eternal based on anything temporary. Okay? And so the remembrance is knowing that it's I am that's doing the work. It's the ego that fears. Oh, you've been hiding out. You couldn't wait to start saying that, right? It's the ego that fears. It is the ego that doubts. It's the ego that is anxious, right? But I am does the work. Therefore, I don't need to put my faith in my ego, right? The fears will flow. Let them come and go, right? The anger, let it come and go. But simply know that I am does the work. All right? Even saying that, you know what I'm saying, it's a sense of fear, then what are you supposed to do with it? Suppress it? Run from it? Right? No. It's just a part of you. It's just an illusory part of you. Okay? It's an illusion. That part of you is not real. Okay? It is just like the ego is not, it's not even a real person, right? It's just a collection of thoughts that has kept you safe, and that's fine. But do I face doubt? Absolutely. Fear? Absolutely. But do I identify with those things? No. They're just feelings and nothing permanent. I am cannot be judged by anything that is temporary. The external circumstances do not define me because they are temporary. The emotions, they do not define me because they are temporary. And so I don't sit around even trying to wrestle with anything temporary. Why would I wrestle it and try to change it when it's just going to change anyway? Why would I wrestle with my emotions, trying to change them when they're just going to change anyway? Doubt and anxiety just show me that I'm still breathing. I'm still alive right now. That's it. And then I can rest in the knowing. After that, now I can go to the knowing. Right? Now I can go to scripture when it says, all right, you know what I'm saying, be still and know that I am God. When it says be still and don't fear and all those things, now I can go to that. But I don't go to that to avoid the fear. Your source, you don't have to run from anything. You go to those to remind yourself of who you are throughout the fear, throughout the doubt. Right? Dang. Some of y'all just be waiting around in the comments for me to say something. But it's one thing, just, he better not say it. He better not say it. Repent! I'm like, damn. Got my ass. Can I finish first? Yeah. Okay. Just running from the fear. Okay. Fear is natural, right? This is what we call bypassing, spiritual bypassing, right? When we don't acknowledge those quote unquote demons, right? Remember when we talk about demons, remember demons come from the root word daemon, right? Which translates to spirit guide. So even these quote unquote dark parts of us, if we think of the story of the fall, what's the story of the fall? The story of Satan or the devil and the third of his minions, the army of the angels, they got cast out of heaven. We'll think of this when we think of things outside of us, okay? So this is one of the illusions of even religion, all right? When we think of these things outside of us, Satan outside of us, demons outside of us, it would be very difficult for me to believe that anything is for me. How can I believe anything is for me if there's these good and evil spirits that are out there that went to war, right? But now when we think about these things as a battle of consciousness, okay, the same way that we'll say, you should not fear. Fear is a sin. Cast it out. It's the same way that Satan was cast out of heaven. So when we cast out these fear and jealousy and anxiety and all of these things outside of us, and we believe, oh, it's a sin, I cannot engage with it. Jesus said, do not sin or do not fear, right? When I say stuff like that, okay, now what I do is I keep them cast out. I keep them as things that are against me, adversaries, right? When you start asking the questions, one of the powerful questions that I always give you, what do I have to believe to be true to feel this way? What do I have to believe to be true to feel fear? Well, I believe God is not there for me. Okay, well, if I believe that, then what do I do? Now I remind myself of the truth. Source is always with me. Boom. Source is always with me. Now, all of a sudden, this fear, this quote unquote demon, it becomes a catalyst for a deeper understanding within myself. This is all it is, right? So we treat our negative emotions, we cast them out. We treat them like these demons, like these big bad things that are outside of us, right? So we go from thinking they're outside of us to thinking that they're negative and within us, right? When we say things like, okay, feeling is the secret, and we think that feeling is a secret means emotions. When even Neville said, right, when I speak of feelings, I do not speak of emotion, but the acceptance of the desire is yours. The acceptance of it as yours. Stop trying to make it yours and simply know that it's yours. That's what he was saying. When we misinterpret that as feelings, we think, oh, I have to walk around. Oh, shit, somebody just made it rain on your boy. Hey, look, I ain't a stripper, but don't push me. Don't push your boy, all right? So when we start to associate with our emotions like that, right? Okay. Now all of a sudden we're like, oh, well, I can only feel good to be in alignment. I have to feel good. I have to feel this way. It sets us up to lose, right? Because we start to look at those quote unquote negative emotions. We're like, oh, I have to suppress them, cast them out. We become what? Like God casting quote unquote Satan and the minions out of heaven. Boom. Boom, right? This is what that story is talking about. Huh? And yeah, I save all the lives, all of them. So when I record them here, they're also being recorded to YouTube. And so as soon as I end it here, you can always go. I never delete them. You can go to YouTube and see them. And even the document that we read, all the affirmations, all the reflection questions, I upload those to YouTube. So it's all yours. This is all yours. I'm a product of y'all's manifestation. So this is all yours. What else y'all doing tonight, man? Anybody got a long week ahead? I feel like this is going to be the best week of somebody's life. Yeah, you can stop screen recording. I didn't know you were screen recording. You know what I'm saying? I would have dressed up nicer for you. If I knew you were taking pictures, unsolicited pictures of me, I would have dressed nice for you. Huh? But nah, I feel like this is going to be the best week of somebody's life. I already know. I already know. No more space. You better make some space. Delete some of your SP's pictures. You probably got some videos of your SP up in there too. Delete them. Make space. I appreciate the compliment too. Sometimes y'all just try to make me blush. I'm too dark for that, okay? I'm a little too melanated for that. You can try though. I'll let you try. But a little too melanated to be blushing. Okay? My thoughts about manifesting physical attributes, do it. Do it. My thoughts are you have no limitations. I know people who have manifested better skin. I know men who have manifested more girth or more inches. Do what you do. Do what you do. The only limitation that you have is your mind. The only limitation that you have is your mind. Right? You are the creator. You are the creator. If you don't like it, change it. Change your skin. Change your body proportions. Right? I've told you, I know people who have decided, they have absolutely decided that no matter what I eat, my body is transforming to the body of my dreams. Boom. And guess what? It happens. Why? Because they hold that belief. This is the $1 million question. What is worse, the food you eat or what you believe about the food? I can definitely restate it. Which part? What's more important? Exactly, the belief, right? Think about it. Everything is made of the same substance. God is all that there is, right? So everything's made out of God. I can't say your thoughts are your reality on one hand, and then on the other hand say, except for food. I can't say that. It's all mental. The universe is mental. All is mine. Not some of it is mine. Not the universe is mental except for food. I have content about everything. You already are in alignment with heaven because you are heaven. You are the universe, right? There is no separation. It's all within you. How could you not be in alignment with the heavens, right? I've heard lots of things, not saying that this is one of those things, but I have heard interesting things on this path that I had never heard before, right? I heard that only women can manifest before. I've heard that limitation, right? I've heard all kinds of odd limitations. Remember, the only limitations we have, there's only one law, it's I am. It is I am. Yeah, sometimes, them feet, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, there's some things you can't change. Some things you can't. No, I'm just playing. Them toenails might be a little too, you know what I'm saying, they've been through a little too much. I don't know how much faith you need to change that motherfucker right there. No, but to change your physical appearance, I know men who have changed the size of their I mean, they didn't give me the proof, but they told me, right? This is what they were working on in their sessions, right? I know people who have changed their skin, who have changed their body composition without changing anything else except for their beliefs. Remember, the same God, the same spirit that flows through everything flows through food. So as you are eating it, your mind is telling a story about this cheesecake. Damn, I have to work out to make this cheesecake go away. This apple is making me healthy. This big slice of pound cake, right, is going to make me thick. You're still associating a story every time you eat something, right? So that's where the power is. This is where the power is. It's just like you're in a video game. When you are in a video game, Okay? And you have all these different foods. The different foods are the same. They're just pixels, right? But you're eating them. Okay? It definitely works. It absolutely works, right? I do certain things. The way that I eat, I do certain things because I was about to give y'all way too much information. I don't need y'all to know that. But the damaging thing about food is the mentality behind it. Okay? It's the mentality behind it. Right? Every time you take a bite out of something, you're telling a story. Oh, my blood sugar's gonna spike. Oh, the sugar spike's gonna mess with me. It's a story, right? Yeah, Kelsey. Hope you caught yourself. The power is all in the word. I'll tell you, as a Dr. Joe Dispenza, right? He has how he came into manifestation, right? Was him he needed back surgery, right? Was he paralyzed for a while? And all he did while he was paralyzed, laying face down, was imagine his spine being reconstructed. And by doing that over and over, now look at him. Right? The power of the mind. See them as perfect. So to manifest, it was bikiness, and that's what it was. To manifest seeing a loved one as healed. See them as perfect, right? Even scripture will tell you, forgive others so your Father in heaven can forgive you. Judge not by appearance, but judge righteously. When you see them as perfect now, right? When you see them as perfect now you give them the energetic space so the perfect version of them can step forward. That's what healing is. Healing is seeing through this sick appearance and seeing them as perfect. Therefore, the perfect version of them can step forward. That's what I do with my mom all the time. It's a constant thing that I do with my mom. As y'all know, my mom has stage 4 lung cancer. She's had it forever, right? People don't survive that. That's a death sentence. She's been here still, 2 years, kicking strong, right? This is the same thing. Okay? This is the same thing. You see her as perfect. This is what Jesus did, exactly. Jesus saw people as perfect. Saw people as perfect. One second, y'all. I'm gonna be right back. Gotta go pee. Y'all entertain each other. Yeah, keep doing that. Keep doing that, right? And beyond doing it, know it, right? Stop trying to do it and know it. Stop trying to do it and know it. Stop trying to do it and know it, right? That is That is a key thing in this, okay? No more trying to see people as perfect. Simply know that they are perfect right now. And as it's unfolding, if you don't see any change in a week, just know it. Know it. Do not judge. Do not base your identity on them. Don't say, oh, I'm not doing you right. That's the trap. You've made the decision. God heard you the first time. God heard you the first time. Okay? So the moment that source heard you, it's done. You just have to stay faithful to that commitment of seeing them that way. All right? From that knowing, now everything must change. Huh? I had to give a little bit more detail on that because I'm very passionate about family members. The difference between trying to do it and just doing it, trying to do it is me affirming right now. Me trying to do it, not affirming right now. Trying to do it is me saying, oh, I have to visualize this way tonight to get it. Knowing it is saying, it doesn't matter if I visualize or not, it's already mine. Knowing is it's already mine. Trying is I have to do something to make it mine. I have to keep embodying this. Knowing is I am the embodiment of God, therefore I'm always in alignment. Okay? Trying is, I hope I'm doing this affirmation right. Knowing is, it doesn't matter how I do the affirmation, I am the power, so it is done. That's it. Okay? That is it. It's already done. That's the knowing is, man, look, I would tell you, the moment that you start relaxing, you really start taking that scripture seriously, the be still and know that I am God. Because it doesn't just say be still. It says be still and know. Like stop trying. What that's really saying is stop trying and just know that you're source. Stop trying and know. Stop trying. That's the same thing that I say, right? Stop trying to be in alignment and just know that you are. Be still and know that I am God. Have you ever really paid attention to that way? Be still. Stop working. Stop trying to be in alignment and know that I am God. Know that it's done no matter what. Okay? Know that it's done no matter what. And do you have to work out your why for your manifestations? No. Manifestations. No. No. Why? You are the why. You are the why in all of it, right? You don't need to write an essay to source as if you're bargaining for your freedom. God, please, if you give me this, then I will do this, right? No, you don't need that. It's all yours by right of consciousness because you are source. The why is just because you are source. That's enough. Your desire is enough of a reason. You don't have to plead at all. Right? Remember, there's only one law. I am. You saying that you have to plead or you have to have a why, or not, or saying you don't have to have a why. What are both of those? Those are just assumptions, right? Those are both assumptions. I think, so self-worth was one of my big things as well. And that's why I'll constantly say those things. I'll be like, okay, look, you are not inside of your body. Your body is inside you. You are not inside time. Time is inside you. You are not in this world. This world is in you. Like, to really scale you, to really help you scale up to what you are. You're really just, this avatar is just your eyes, how you're seeing this reality, but you are all of it. You're everything. You're the awareness of everything. This world is inside of you. And as your eyes show up, right? Remember, if a tree falls in the middle of a forest and nobody's around, does it make a sound? Absolutely not. It doesn't exist. There is no tree. There's no forest without you. The world doesn't exist outside of your awareness. So as you're walking through life, fee, fi, fo, fum, right? Stomping the big ugly ass feet throughout life, right? Now, as your consciousness, as your awareness perceives things, that reality shows up. Boom. Boom. But it's all within you. It's all within you. Your body is inside of you. This reality is inside of you. And then what does source feel like to me? I can't say a feeling. But if I had to, right, I would say peace. That's what I would say. I would say peace. All right. Like, but it's beyond a feeling. It's not a feeling. Like a feeling, I am is above feelings. The knowing that I am source is a peaceful feeling. Cool. Is it always a peaceful feeling? No. But the nature of I am does not need your praise, does not need your love, does not need you to repent or else you're going to burn in hell, right? I am is above those things. I am is just awareness. I am is just is. It just is. It doesn't need your love, your gratitude, your praise, your thanks, none of that. None of that. I am is just I am. It is awareness, right? If you take away your story about yourself, your memory about life, who are you? Do you still exist? Without your awareness, right? Or not awareness, without your memories, do you still exist? Of course you do. But what are you? When you try to observe anything without explaining it with words or thoughts, what is it? This is your nature. If you are infinite love and all the love that there is, why do you need love? What do you think you're giving love to God for? To get something? No, love is just your natural essence. It just makes you feel good to do it. You love to be in love. You love to show gratitude and be grateful to receive things because it's your nature. It's who you are. This is the one true, pure, probably emotion of source is love. So when you're expressing that, you just feel good, but you're not getting more. Like, love isn't something that you do to receive. Love just is. Love is just all that there is. I don't love you. I just am love. Love just is. Love is beyond, it's beyond what you're capable of providing me. You can give me some verb or some action, some act. But you don't need, like, even the concept of showing love. It's much smaller than what love really is. Love is everything. It just exists. It just is, right? It's beyond our language. This is why we even struggle to really explain the love in relationships. Well, that's not love if they do this, and it's not real love and that do this, and love should be like this, and this should be like that. It's our human way of trying to conceptualize what is beyond our language. Love is everything. It's who you are. You are love. You are a being of pure love, of pure light. The pure spirit of God wrapped up into your divine ass. Huh? So you're not giving God love to get stuff. You're not giving God gratitude to get anything. God does not need your gratitude. You don't, like, you could walk around and not know God, not believe in God, give God no credit and still have the life of your dreams. Why? Because this love is unconditional. It just is. It just is. It just is. Huh? What else y'all got? This was a good discussion too. This was a very good discussion. Very powerful discussion. Appreciate you for joining. Appreciate you for being here. Appreciate all of y'all. All right, y'all getting quiet. Might be my cue. Take my ass to sleep. Yeah, my view on death and transitioning. We can talk about that. Let's get deep, right? Let's have a pondering session. Let's talk about death. Okay? First of all, to really go down that path, we have to understand that everybody is you, okay? So everybody is within you. And let me really break that down in a different way, okay? So right now, okay, the hoodie cave, right? Right now, like I have said before, right? You are the one who gives everybody meaning. So if I tell you to think about your mother, think about somebody that you've lost, who are they without your memory of them, without the story that you tell of them? Okay, they're meaningless. So in a sense, this avatar that was them is wrapped up with infinite versions of them. Infinite versions of them are within them, right? But because you have this experience with them and these memories, you create the stories of them that make them important. So who they really are to you exists within you, right? How special they are, how much love they are, it exists within you. Okay? There's nothing out there. They exist within you. So even their transition, right? The body of them has transitioned, but all of their memories, your perspective of them lives within you. Now let's expand on that. Let's say that I go out on a date, right? I meet a young lady and she ghosts me. Okay, so she disappears, she ghosts me. But she meets somebody else and she is everything to him. He is everything to her. They fall in love, they get married. I have a different perception of her, okay, than he has of her. Which perception is true? They both are. Okay? So every single person that is communicated with the person that you have lost, they love them, right? They have a different perspective of them. Okay, they might love them, they might not, but they have a different perspective of them. So we have all of these different versions of this person that live on within all of us. And so as we go through life, right, now their memory doesn't fade or die. They're still a part of us. They still influence our decisions. We still dream about them, right? We still daydream and think, what would they lead me to do in this situation? The best of them still lives on within us. So do they ever truly die? Do they? The physical vessel, it is just a finite vessel to house something temporary or to house something eternal. Huh? So the physical vessel, yeah, it passes away. But nothing that is temporary is real. The only thing that is real is the eternal soul behind it, the I am behind it. And that I am does not know non-existence. Right now, you can't even imagine not existing. Even when you go to sleep and you blink and you don't dream and you wake up, what happens? You still exist. There's nothing there, but you cannot perceive not existing. It does not exist. Okay? So in those times, right, your soul then leaves that avatar, because there's only this one moment. Well, let's forget the one moment. Your soul then gets a new avatar to continue it for another time at this, right? But let's think about time in this way. We often think of future or past lives like this, in this linear way. We think, if my past life existed, then it was in the 1800s to the 1900s. A future life is going to be in the year 2050 or 2080. But outside of this realm, this dimension, time isn't real. Time doesn't exist. The past and the future don't exist. Everything is happening right now. So you could actually pass away today and be reincarnated. Let's say in 1850. Let's think about it again. Let's say that you were actually reincarnated 10 years ago. So now you have two versions of you walking around. Okay? Now let's say this other one passes away and then you're reincarnated again 5 years ago. So now you have three versions of you walking around, right? So how many versions of you could actually exist in one reality? Who is the person that you broke their heart? Who is the person that broke your heart? Who is the person that you're remembering that you're loving so much? Who is the one that you think has passed away? What if all of these are simply you? What if they're just different perspectives of you? This gives a different meaning, right, to the reincarnation cycle and to the time does not mean anything, and there's no linear time. How many, right, of you do you experience in your lifetime? What if there's no other soul? All right? So that's just a perspective, right? But let's really think about death, right? And actually walking through life. As y'all know, like I've lost my older brother, passed when we were younger. And also a girl I thought I was gonna marry, right? She passed away as well. I still dream about them. Right now, I still dream about them. They still give me advice. All right? Without them, I don't expand into who I am today. Without them, I'm not in front of the camera. Without them, I don't have the amount of information. I don't have the open perspective that I have. Right? And for a long time, the hunger for knowledge after losing both of them led me down a path of just consuming knowledge. Just consuming knowledge. Okay? But also, there was a peace that I found in continuing to work, right, for her. Work to find some kind of purpose in it. The peace was a mystical experience where I was able to communicate with her, and the interesting thing is I was trying to communicate with her, and I got basically we had a conversation about where my life could go and a walking through some past lives. Okay. And basically the realization was everyone has to play a certain role in everyone's life. And we have, sometimes we understand what that role is, sometimes we don't. But we have to open our minds to the knowing that everything is intentional. There's nothing accidental that happens. And so the only path that I could take the only path that I could take, right, is just using that experience to become the best person that I could be. That was it. There was no other choice. Because what does the passing or the quote unquote losing of somebody mean if I do not honor them by becoming someone that they would be proud of, right? What would I be doing? So who's to say where my life would have been without those experiences? Who's to know? Who's to say? I trust they will be fine, sure. But would I be doing things in this capacity? Who knows? Who knows? And yes, I absolutely believe it's two-way communication, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. How? I mean, how is it not, right? I speak to them, they're there, right? So your higher self, think about it like this, okay? What is the connection between you, every version of you in this life, and every version of you living in past and future lives? It's this concept of the higher self, right? This part of you, the 99.999% of you, right? That part of you that is simply just connected to every single version of you, every single experience of you, right? That higher self, right, is still connected, not just with all those versions of you, but of anybody you've interacted with in any of your lives. This is why I can still right now go to sleep and dream about different versions, by different people, that have passed and transitioned years ago, but I can still get present day, current advice. I can still talk to them, right? Because they still live within me. Their higher self still connected to me, right? Now, once we start getting into this, we start talking about the division of God, which I don't really like to talk about that much. But I will talk about this just from a perspective of something that has helped me understand. The insight that was given to me that helps me understand. Even when I pass, when I'm in different lives, when I'm doing whatever, my higher self will still be connected to everybody that I have experienced in this life. Anybody who has a memory of me, a perspective of me, I can still be connected to them, and I can still show up to help them whenever called upon, if I decide to. Okay. So it's always a two-way choice. And if you don't dream, that's not the only way you can speak to people, right? Through dreams. You can speak to them through meditation. You can speak to them through music, right? You will receive, maybe this puzzle. If you think of the quote-unquote spirit guides or ancestors that you deal with, right? They'll communicate with you in a way that makes sense. Okay, what is all this? They're going to communicate with you in a way that makes sense. So, if you're already listening to a certain song and it has a lyric that needs you, that has a message for you, then all of a sudden your ears are going to perk up right before you hear that, and that is going to be the message that you hear. So there's not just one way to receive that insight. It's all just knowing, for sure. It's all just knowing. It's all just knowing. All right, y'all. Gonna call it a wrap right here. I appreciate y'all's time tonight. I always appreciate these discussions. I'll be on tomorrow. I don't know what time though. I'll take my mom to the doctor tomorrow. If I have a good trading day, I'll probably jump on early. If I don't, might jump on a little bit later, right? I love all y'all. Appreciate y'all's time. You deserve everything that you desire. And it's already yours. It's already flowing to you right now, right? Accept it. Stop trying to be it and just know it. Just know it. Okay? Y'all have a beautiful evening, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Peace. Well, okay. I'll answer that one before I click off. What if you have struggled with these thoughts or doubts of unworthiness because you hurt someone unintentionally? Who is the one who hasn't forgiven you? It's you, right? You're the one who's holding on. Okay? You're the one who has to forgive yourself. Now, how do you forgive yourself? One moment at a time. One at a time. You forgive yourself right now, and then you forgive yourself again, but you continue doing that. Think of forgiveness as a process that you do, and you do it every moment. The same way that declaring your desires, right? You do it in the moment. You do it right now, then right now, then right now, then right now, right? But even that is a story that you're telling, right? That you struggle with the thoughts of doubt or unworthiness because you hurt someone. That's okay. The doubts are fine. You just have to remind yourself of the truth through them. I am that I am no matter what. I forgive myself. It was unintentional. I wasn't trying to hurt somebody. That is perfectly fine. That was another version of me that was just doing the best that it could. That version of me is perfect. And right now I choose to also be perfect. That's how you do it.